The Rap Roundtable.
Ah, yes. Monday Night Raw. Back on deck. It's your boy Jav here alongside Sincere the Rap Snob, alongside Deanie the Balance, and of course alongside the greatest Drake fan in the world, OVO Mace. Rap Roundtable with another epic Monday. A lot is going on. We've seen the tweets. We've seen the burner accounts. We've seen the notifications. And then we've seen people in our chat, Ted Hill, pulling up to talk shit. And then we got another guy here, Derek Thanos, 5698. Yo, chill. The Cole hate on this channel is crazy, though. I recall Job saying he could predict every one of Cole's bars on the fall off. Well, if you could, why don't you make the album yourself? So it's like as soon as we upload and we get ready to take off with the podcast, I got to deal with bitch assness off the get. Like, bro, we've never once wished bad on J. Cole as a platform. I want to just set the tone for the evening. We've never wished bad on Cole.
Never.
We never said Cole couldn't come back. We didn't send him to the Flow Rider League. We didn't do any of these things. We didn't do any of the things we did to Drake, to J. Cole. We got mad at J. Cole because J. Cole is so good at rapping that we were disappointed in the fact that he took the route that he took, and we kicked his back in for it, right? And we continued to kick his back in for it up until it was time for new music conversations to be had. And once the music conversations to be had about the new shit that dropped begun, we stopped talking about the beef. But yeah, here we go with these emo J. Cole fans. Oh, 300K first week? Oh, why should I listen to you guys? We never said Cole would fall off. J. Cole is the part of the big three. He's a megastar. Nothing about his career indicates that he would take a precipitous drop. We didn't even forecast him dropping off. We didn't forecast him falling off.
We didn't have anything to say at all about like his standing numbers wise.
Right.
You know,
Not no.
Billboard wise.
We knew that was going to be.
That was never the conversation. That was never the conversation. He coming in here throwing numbers at us like we said he was going to do like 50,000 or something. Like what? Right. Nobody ever said that.
We played with Cole's name like that. In fact, I'm willing to say we never played with J. Cole's name. You know what I'm saying? We called him out about the things that he did.
Right.
As an MC. Never hated on him as a man. Strictly critiques of him as an MC. So when the J. Cole fans coming in with the bitch assness off rip in the chat, it's gonna be responded to and told.
For sure.
Ted Hill got treated the way he got treated because first he's crying about the shit. I told him niggas crying. And I flat out said I've seen women cry less for more important shit than you as a man crying over J. Cole sales to us as if we predicted he would fall off. We didn't.
Nobody.
And then when you get to talking about subscriber talk to us and 23K and this and that, let's be clear. It's about to be 24,000, thank you. And secondly, you're here every week, every drop, every comment section.
Every day.
So, in my opinion, you want 4 niggas' dicks defending another nigga in J. Cole while you bouncing the history. You want 5 niggas' dick, you a dick rider. That's the point of what I'm saying. You are a dick rider.
Crazy.
You're here to ride dick. You're not rubbing on some woman's ass, your girlfriend, your wife, your side things, nothing. You don't get no burn from the hoes. You just hit, and then you said because you said it yourself. You said that I'm in all these other podcasts, chats, whatever. I watch a bunch. So that means you have no time for women. So you bouncing on streets. That's it. If you started off like that, and if me saying that you're crying more than a woman over a rapper could lead to you feeling like you could disrespect the platform, I'm going to call you a dick rider 10 times out of 10. Every single time. Let's be clear. Secondly, to the other comment, right?
Top rope.
Sin called it a straw man argument. Great description. Because me being able to listen to your raps and know what you're going to say next or know what type of direction you're going to go in next doesn't mean that I think I'm a better rapper. The same way I could watch a movie and know how a director or a writer is taking a story in a certain direction. You can predict it. It's called, is an actual term of it. I'm going to Google it before this pod is over. But there's a term about predictive shit that is actually when you study filming and whatnot, because I had to take a class about that like 15, 20 years ago, right? So everything when it's so predictive, people as the consumer, I go for me, Sin, Didi, Mace, we all can predict because we've been programmed and we listen to music for so long that we just kind of know where shit is gonna go.
Right.
We understand rhyme schemes.
It's cliche. You know what I mean?
Right. That's all I'm saying. So again, shout out J. Cole, 280,000 to be exact units. We never wish bad on that man. We want him to succeed, in fact, because when he succeeds, as we said at the end of our reaction, when he succeeds, we succeed because he's rapping. He's not singing. He's not yodeling. He's delivering bars. Right?
Pre-sale.
That
the show goes on
reminds
tomorrow.
me.
Go cop a ticket.
That reminds me. At the end of the reaction, despite the negatives that I had about the album, I very specifically and literally said, I hope his album succeeds, because if it succeeds, it's a win for lyricism. I literally said that. So why come with this energy? He sold 300,000. I'm happy. Yo, we happy he sold that much on just bars and beats. You know what I mean? And
bars and beats. And the thing is, you made it. The thing is, that wasn't on the rundown. You made sure to emphasize that as much as we're critiquing the music, not him. We don't, because people be on their platforms calling Cole all kinds of names. We don't do that over here.
Very.
You know what I mean? It's not us. You got the wrong guys. We talked about the music and the music alone, and Sin made sure to let it be known that we need more people like J. Cole to do it with the bars and the beats.
Yes, sir.
The end. I don't know what y'all talking about with Kendrick and dresses and all of that. Y'all gonna have to. If y'all seen it, Mace, if you know what's going on, please put me on. I don't know what's going on. You know what I mean? But nevertheless, people like negativity. They love to lean into the negativity. They hear what they want to hear, and then they get to pointing at us. And I understand that. And that's why when they point at us and say certain things, Angel Reese. You know what I mean? Use also, your brain.
If he's coming with that energy towards us on our channel, like I wonder how many different websites and blogs and critics he's visiting also with that same energy. Because this album has J. Cole's lowest Metacritic score is for this album. That shit got a lower score than the Nas and Primo album that everybody hated, apparently.
That's a fact.
You know, but hey, I digress.
Interesting parallels.
Indeed.
All right, man. J. Cole is calm, bro. He did what he's supposed to do. Megastar, doing Megastar stats. There's a reason why it's called the Big Three, and he showed that once again. His fans are gonna show up. We've learned, and we've covered that too ad nauseum. One thing we know is no matter what J. Cole does or doesn't do, his fans will show up for him. Dini said it himself last week. Even if I jokingly say 52,000 of his own people at Dreamville Fest, Dini followed that up by saying, you know how hard it is to get 52,000 people in one area to see you? He is capable of that. Like, again, him apologizing and doing some non-hip-hop shit don't mean that he's whack, his music is whack. We not correlating the two. Those are two separate entities. And if you're too soft, because I'm calling it what it is. If you're too soft to where you can't separate the two, then we are not the platform for you. I'm sorry, because we don't do bitch assness over here. It ain't 4 bitch niggas on this platform. It's 4 grown ass men that's able to separate, differentiate, and have real conversations. Okay.
And as I said, once again, like there's 3 shows gonna be in New York City. The pre-sale goes on sale tomorrow. There's one in Barclays, one in Madison, and one in UBS or USB. I always forget the name of that shit. The one in Long Island. But most people don't do 3 shows in the city. So the fact that there's 3 shows in the city, I respect that. I might be at one of those.
Like Cole has been one of the top acts in rap for well over a decade. Like, if this is like when I talk about the stan culture getting into hip hop, you know what I mean? These are not conversations we ever had. I don't think that when Blueprint 2's first week sales came out, that Jaw was going around saying, "See." You know what I mean? See, Jay still got it. You feel what I'm saying? Like that just wasn't something we cared about. It is very reminiscent if you watch online between the way Nicki and Cardi and Meg and Doja Cat fans attack each other. It's very weird. No, like and honestly, if we talk about the numbers, keep the same energy when Iceman drops. And if the numbers are so important, Cole is still number 3, ain't he? If the numbers
it means something.
The numbers mean that much, right?
Oh man, that's like I think we talked about that.
This is neither here nor there, but since we're bringing up numbers, he still hasn't outsold Kendrick Lamar.
Not that matters.
Yeah,
not that matters. But if y'all want to bring it up,
It's a conversation. Yeah,
exactly. And at the end of the day, like we said last week, when someone mentioned like a Cole's projected is 300K, we said it on the live with Company Man. We was like, yo, look, when Drake drops 300K first week for Iceman and the album is whack, are we gonna celebrate? Our numbers gonna not matter anymore? Because that's what they're gonna do. Oh, numbers don't matter. It's not about the numbers. Same Cole fans. Numbers don't matter. You know what I mean? All right. But anyway, since it wraps now, we got a lot to get to. There's a lot going on this weekend. Shout out Jeremy Cole on Twitter specifically for hitting us over the head. Yo, y'all niggas got a lot to talk about. Yes, we do. Off the rip, we got to get into this conversation because it divided a lot of people. The whole street thing, hip hop thing. You see Glasses getting into it with people. Some old cats with bad opinions, conflating street with hip hop culture and like thuggery with street shit and hip hop. It's all of these things are different things. You know what I mean? And sometimes they intersect, but they're all different things. But all of these things popped off specifically with Cyhi the Prince putting out a tweet that it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that he was kind of taking a swipe at J. Cole and probably people of his ilk with this tweet. So City Raps up, I know you got that tweet for us. Can you let us know what Cyhi said for people who might not know what's going on?
2 tweets, so I'm gonna read them both back to back.
2 tweets.
The first tweet, right? This is what set it all off. He said, "I grew up in an era where your lyricists were from the streets. Now it's a bunch of A students who dropped out of college their sophomore year to be rappers. You can tell they don't have any life experiences. They are just good with words." Good with words. Interesting. Then he followed that up right after some backlash probably. He said, "I'm cool with a couple college dropout rappers, but I miss the authentic lyrics like Jay-Z, Nas, DMX, T.I., Outkast, etc. were mainstream and not just kids who were just good in literature class." Ye was the original. Interesting point. Now that's all the mainstream rappers these days.
Damn.
Straight from the desk of Cyhi the Prince.
That's so sincere. You're the elder statesman here, and I say that with respect. I'm not trying to be funny.
All right.
Why do you think that particular take divided the room so aggressively?
That's a good question. And I think it speaks to something that we've been kind of circling here at the Rap Roundtable, and it's there's always been a generational divide. Like there's been a generational divide for some time. But what's interesting to me now is, while before it seemed like there was a generational divide between bars and vibe, now I feel like there's a generational divide between street element and non-street or sidewalk element. I think that this generation is more concerned, and when I say this generation, I mean like Gen Z, because we're past the millennial generation now. This younger Gen Z generation, I think, is more concerned with fundamental soundness and just being technically proficient, more so than they are about an MC, a rapper, actually being from the streets or having a street element, right? I think this generation is looking for more substance, more more soundness, less danger possibly. This is it's weird, and I've had this conversation about several different facets of life. There's a very strange, like very straight-laced generation that we have these days, I think, or at least a certain segment of the generation. Like they don't really go out, they don't drink, they don't smoke. They're just like leading a very straight-edge life, and I think that's what they're looking for from their music as well, even in hip hop. And hip hop is always, us being, again, well, John said I'm the eldest statesman here, but we're all sort of elder statesmen here. And obviously we come from that generation. We come with from the vantage point that there's always going to be a street element to good hip hop. You know, you cannot separate the two. You can't strip the street element out of hip hop. Then it becomes something else, something a little bit more sanitized. You know, and sanitized hip hop, honestly, not really for me. And when I say that, I'm not saying that everybody got to be a thug, everybody got to be selling drugs or shooting somebody. Like, you know, even the underground rappers back in the day, the raucous era rappers back in the day, you know, they were still from the streets. You know, Kweli and Mos from Brooklyn. You know, even Common, the most nice guy rapper in the world, still got it on, you know, against Ice Cube from the streets of Chicago. You know, you don't have to be, you know, always in the mix of the street element to have that street element in you and to have it, you know, come out in your art. When I hear hip hop that just doesn't quite have that street element in it, I always feel like there's something missing. And so does Cyhi, you know, and we're all from that same generation. So that's where I think that this divide is coming from is, you know, this generation now, they don't have that same connection to, you know, the growth of hip hop, not just the birth, but like through its early 20 years, where, you know, that street element was always prevalent, even if it wasn't shooting, even if it wasn't drinking and smoking and selling drugs or whatever, there was still the element there. And now, when we see certain rappers and we see it missing, we're like, that's not quite the same. It doesn't feel quite the same. I think that's his point, and I agree with him. You know.
All right. And here's the thing. Like, I'm gonna pass it off to my guys in a second, but I'll give my take on whether I agree with Cyhi a little bit later on. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. In the midst of talking to a couple of morons, I forgot to tell you guys or ask you guys to do the free things. Like, subscribe, swipe, and hype a little bit later on. Real quick, episode 143, a good one is pulling up this Wednesday. We have essentially what turned into a therapy conversation about J. Cole. We were definitely, you know, psychoanalyzing the mind of a rapper through the music, of course. Everything through the music. So hit the like button. I want to just point out that I got one
I'm sorry, because I see people getting shit misconstrued.
Nah, let me cook, sir.
Like,
let me cook.
I just want to correct them real quick.
I'm requesting to cook. I got something I need to say because I'm gonna forget it. Don't cut me off. The important thing here about Cyhi is like this college thing. I don't like it. Like he didn't need to mention college to make his point. I feel like that's really where the fuzziness gets into this conversation. Like what like to me, that's like an old time thing that us as black people do. Yeah. That's why I was like, I got to get this off.
Yeah.
It's not even like, I don't know, because I can't speak to Hispanic culture. But I know black people weaponize college in a way to try to pull down their own people. And I felt like him referencing college was so absolutely unnecessary. Some of the most streetest niggas I've known in my life, they did a couple semesters in college.
It's true.
Right.
You know what I mean? They ain't like he ain't have to mention college to make that point.
A few rappers in college, believe that.
Stop turning college into a negative for black people. That shit is effing corny to me. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah.
I just want to get on my soapbox for a second.
Yeah, thank you for making that point, because I think this is another one of those situations where you know, there's a Venn diagram. There's always some overlap. You know, there's the completely straight-laced college kids. They're the complete street kids, street guys, and then there's overlap. And I think that, like, it is true that, you know, Cyhi putting college into the throwing college into the conversation may be, you know, detrimental to the point that he's trying to make. But I do get what he's saying, though. I think he's talking about the guys that just went to college, you know, and learned about hip hop, learned the fundamentals, the 101s and the 201s, and, you know, got their masters, quote unquote, in hip hop. You know, they learned it. It's like they learned it out of a book, but didn't really live it. There are people that there are rappers, MCs that, you know, their whole lives was in the street, you know, and had no college experience. But then there are, you know, the certain artists that have a mix of the two. I saw certain people saying Talib Kweli is not a street guy. I saw the company man, shouts to Justin, saying that he went to college. I'm not saying he didn't go to college, and I'm not saying he's not educated. That's not what I'm saying at all. But what I'm saying is that there was a time where, you know, you had to feel a certain street, sort of like street smarts from a rapper. You know, if not a criminal street element, they at least needed to have some sort of street smarts that they conveyed in the music. And there's certain rappers, and I might put J. Cole in this bucket, where it just doesn't seem like there's an awful lot of, you know, outside experience, street smart experience. Definitely went to college, definitely, you know, graduated magnum cum laude, definitely had almost a 4.0 GPA, great with words, amazing writer. But when it comes to like the experience that he's talking about, there's that certain element, you know, and it could, again, it doesn't have to be a big element. It doesn't have to be 50% or 75% or even 25%, but like at least a 10 to 15 to 20% element that's kind of missing. That's all I'm saying.
I dig it. They need a balance. What are your thoughts on this whole thing about what Cyhi had to say, you know, involving college and essentially saying there's a bunch of lame niggas rapping? That's really what I took away from it. He's calling these niggas lame.
I think like you said, he muddied the waters with the college thing. I think by mentioning college, you opened up a door. Even if you wanted the door creaked by mentioning college, you basically swung the door wide open for like countless people to walk through. But I understood what he was saying. Like even me, I take all of us actually. You know what I'm saying? Like when people hear the word street, they think you outside clapping niggas. That's really like what a lot of people's connotation of street is. You on a block with the bricks. Nah, like these are just niggas who've been on the streets. And I don't mean just walking up the streets. I mean, you might know the niggas who are the street niggas. You might have affiliations and connections, and you know, we might have family members that's from the streets. So you have certain elements of the streets. They might tell you to watch out for certain things from the streets. From that alone, you gain more street knowledge of how to carry yourself through the streets. It's just J. Cole struck me as a nigga like he might not have gotten those jewels. He just don't carry himself like a nigga has gotten those jewels. You get what I'm saying? Even down to that thing with the Lucy in the corner store thing, where he was like, Lucy's are illegal and shit. Like, it's just like, come on, bro. Anytime Dick and Harry from the hood would tell you, like, you know, you're not supposed to get Lucy's from the corner store legally. You get what I'm saying? Like, it don't gotta be ghetto. It just like, I'm from a hood. You feel me? I have deep ties to a hood. I know a lot of people locked into the streets, people that's in the streets and they never getting out the streets. You know, 50-year-old gang member niggas that's just like tied in, life out. Like, I feel like when you know these people, you around these people, you speak to people from the hood, you know, you go into the Jacks, everybody got their favorite auntie in the Jacks, you got your home, you go through, and it's just love. Like, I'm not saying J. Cole's not like that. I'm just saying, like, it don't convey in the music. Like, it just don't convey to me. As like you said, Talib Kweli. No one's thinking that Talib Kweli is going outside clapping niggas, but you can't tell me he not from the streets. Talib's from Brooklyn, bro. Like, he from the streets. You get what I'm saying? The trap in Brooklyn. So I understand what you're saying, but I just think those two things are getting misconstrued. The whole college element is getting misconstrued, and the street element is getting misconstrued, bro. You get what I'm saying? Like, street don't necessarily mean you out thugging. It just means you understand the mechanics of the streets, even if you're not operating with those mechanics, but you know how this shit work. You feel me? I know when certain times come around, certain places, it's best to boogie from these places. That's a part of the street knowledge that I'm talking about. You know, like just knowing how to maneuver through the streets, basically.
Muted up, Joe.
Muted.
Muted right now.
For the sake of clarity, where do you land with him, like with Cyhi's opinion? Though, are you for it, against it?
So I'm kind of for it because I truly do feel like when the music came directly from the streets, there was a certain energy that I feel like, I don't want to say the college kids, but it's almost like this. I just feel like in that era, the street era knew how to play offense and defense in terms of an athlete. You know what I'm saying? Like, they knew how to just maneuver the entire game. They were great with the basketball. They were great off ball. They just knew how to play the game from all different facets. I feel like you don't really hear that as much in the music today, and it's lacking. Like we could turn on music and listen to somebody who's like an NBA young boy, like a street nigga that's really, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a nigga that could just give you facets from the streets, like kind of like a Nas did, you know, where you felt like even if Nas was doing dirt, it just the way he conveyed the streets, you know, the way P conveyed Prodigy, for those who don't know, get your game up. P, you know what I'm saying? The way P conveyed the streets is just, it was artistic. You get what I'm saying? Like to the point where if you were not from the streets, you got a little dose of what the streets was like, because that's what rappers were like. It was like reporters for the hood, you know. So they would like plug you into certain things that you might not have known about. No, but most niggas listening to the pod right now did not cook a brick, but you listen to a countless amount of niggas rapping about it, you know. So I'm kind of with Cyhi, man. There's a certain soul that's kind of missing when the music's not from the streets. You know, it's just like a special ingredient that a street nigga could cook up that a person that's not from the streets just can't, you know? So I kind of agree with him. The college thing is a little bit OD, but the whole street element, I respect that part.
Okay. Mesito.
You know, I always appreciate, you know, the four opinions, how me and the fellas can, you know, interpret shit a little bit different. I know the guys probably gonna spend a little bit more time on the messenger, but I mean on the message, but I can't get past the messenger in this situation when it comes to Cyhi, to be honest with you. Like, because when I read these tweets, it's like it's very akin to like Mike D'Antoni complaining about 3-pointers. You know what I'm saying? Like, like
sports reference.
It's that type of energy, because when I look, it's like a deadbeat dad wondering why his kid is a dropout. Like, he tried to skate past the Kanye of it all, but no, we cannot skate past the Kanye. The leader of all the college guys and the people who you're describing is Kanye, and you were instrumental in helping him create his greatest album ever in most of our eyes, and a large proponent of that era, that 808s Dark Twisted Fantasy era, that a lot of these guys that you say you detest came from. So it's like, no, you can't just say, oh, we was good with the college dropout. No, not you. If you saying the thing that you put out on the streets, I put out coke. It turned into crack. The coke dealer can't say I'm not responsible for it anymore. That's like, so I look at Cyhi like, wait a second, bro. Like, and if you want to go past the Kanye of it, well, let's talk about the work that you helped Travis Scott with. Didn't you ghostwrite the most famous Travis Scott song ever? It's almost 20 million sold. So if you were instrumental in creating what you now detest, I'm going to respect you a little bit less. So that aspect made me a little bit kind of sideways looking at him. Also, Cyhi, you're a rapper. In 16 years, you dropped 2 albums. Your last album dropped in 2017. The biggest way you can fight what you're saying you don't like musically is to actually be active yourself musically. You're a talented lyricist. Everybody knows this. You don't work. So how is a guy who don't want to be on the field mad about what's going on the field?
Let's not do that, Mace. Let's not do that, Mace.
We're gonna do that, Sin. We're gonna do
let's
that.
Let's not do that, Mace, because you don't know the inner workings of what's going on, or the backdoor workings of what's going on. You know what I mean?
Backdoor work. What you mean? You think Cyhi can't drop music?
I'm thinking he doesn't have very many men
that work with Kanye
and now does not, very infamously does not work with Kanye anymore. Do you think Kanye doesn't have any sort of say into like
of him or Kanye? Did Kanye decide to stop working with him, or did Cyhi? It's most likely Cyhi got dropped.
Let's keep the main thing right now.
And so that makes me upset. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, well, you know, how can we really take this guy seriously? And so, like, it's hard for me to, and also, to be honest, much like the Benny situation, I've never had a conversation about Cyhi's music with a street nigga. So how are you mad at the people? I've had it with college educated dudes who kind of understand shit on a higher level. I've had conversations with Cyhi about them. Everybody I've ever had a conversation with Cyhi's music about has a degree, actually. So maybe he should ease up on his main audience. Okay, so that, to me, I don't want to hear this from Cyhi the Prince. to be honest with you. If you want me to speak about what he actually said, listen, it's a weird conversation. We hear this. This has been Benny the Butcher has made this argument. Meek Mill has made this argument. They never really articulated well enough for me. What I do know about the origins of hip hop, if you really delve deep and know what's going on, is that a lot of the first interactions were between street artists and people on college campuses. You see a lot of these executives that were in the early 90s and late 80s that helped launch this hip hop thing off the ground were met on HBCU campuses and college campuses, and they helped like move this thing forward as much as the street niggas that you're trying to compliment. So I can't respect this, Cyhi, personally.
And college radio.
Goes that man.
College radio was instrumental too.
No, it was.
You know, this is a tricky conversation, and as a matter of fact, I refuse. Let me rephrase. It's not tricky at all. It kind of goes back to what I said a few minutes ago about him burying the lead of his point when he throws college into the equation. Because if you just think there's a bunch of lame guys that are rappers in 2026, then just say that. You know what I mean? Like, because that's really the crux of his point, is that he's looking at these guys that are in position now, doing well, as essentially college educated, gentrified rappers who lack the soul and the sauce of the artists from yesteryear. That's the point he's making here. That's the point that Sin is agreeing with. Because I know a few people got a little, like, their feathers ruffled by the point Sin was making. Sin don't even give a fuck about the college aspect of it. I don't think y'all understood that when he was talking. Sin could care less about the college aspect of what Cyhi was saying. What Cyhi, and to a lesser degree what Sin is saying, is that 20, 30 years ago, let's go back in the day now, when we were all young and impressionable individuals, the rappers that we were listening to coming up were looked at as like hood superheroes. And their music was conveyed through personal experiences on the block, from their window. Shout out Nas. Nas took it from the window to his block. Basically, every stop along the way, we were with Esco, learning his story, his journey. All of our favorites, DMX, you name it, Cameron early on, Biggie, Pac, everybody. You know what I mean? We got to feel them through the lenses of street urban culture. You know what I mean? Shout out to Glasses Malone. So I think that's the point that Glasses is making. But the problem is now, and it's such a layered issue, you know, like, this is not the political roundtable, but life has changed as far as like you know, like the experience of the black man in let's say middle class America to like the hood. I don't think it's the same. I could be wrong. Like, these, we got the young kids, the YNs, they outside, they get into it, right? But I could tell you just from my individual lens, I don't want to speak for the public, but being in education for 10 years, specifically being a dean for 2 years, and calling a lot of parents, is dealing with a lot of black kids. I never was in an environment where I was with white kids. I was dealing with black kids and Hispanic kids, primarily 96% of the student body, right? And I dealt with a lot of kids who wanted to be something else, but at the crib, they had 2 parents. Their parents had 6-figure jobs. They weren't living in the hood. That wasn't their experience. And as that life continues to change, you got to think about it. The people we was listening to, I lived in the P's. I think I could say it, probably all lived in the P's at one point, right? We not street niggas, we not thugs, but we lived in the P's, and with living in the P's, you see shit. You experience shit. I grew up in Brownsville on the outskirts of the 90s, 98th and Ralph, if you know Brooklyn very well. And I spent, when I wasn't on 98th and Ralph, I was in Marcus Garvey in Brownsville. I seen mad shit. You know what I mean? I have friends I grew up with who went to jail shooting at cops and shit. You know what I mean? And if they was to get into rapping and they write their bars, they telling me shit about what they experienced. And I think like there's a lot of rappers now, to Cyhi's point, that are probably coming up in that 2-parent home energy. The people who are connecting to him, even if it's a single parent home, that single parent is doing very well. it's not as barren as it was. Like I see my mom's whole journey from like really struggling to get into it. Whereas these kids are now coming into good shit. And they connect with a J. Cole because he came into some good shit and he's on the periphery talking about it. And to a nigga like Cyhi, he might feel like a nigga like Cole is corny because when I was growing up, I was listening to fucking RZA and Method Man. I was listening to Ice Cube. I was listening to Redman. You know, and it's a differentiation of culture and energy within hip hop to where I think it's dangerous to start pointing fingers. So it's like to a degree I gotta disagree with Cyhi because you can say that these guys are lame, and I'm not mad at Cyhi. Like I'm not mad like Mace's mad. I have no issue with Cyhi personally. But I think that what's being forgotten about is that how the game around rap, the world around rap ain't the same world. The 90s and the early aughts and the late 80s, mid 80s, that world don't exist no more. That struggle don't exist no more. There's still remnants of that struggle, or it shows itself in slightly different ways. But that particular struggle, but how much times, Mace? Because we from the same neighborhood, we can walk around the Ville, we have empty lots, dirty shit, dead bodies. All the places over in the Ville now is high-rise luxury apartments now, bro. Like it's a different world. So it's just for him to say that, I think it kind of ignores that the world has changed, and maybe people don't need that from their rappers anymore. I think rappers, we connected to rappers. We connected through the story that they told. I think that people listen to rap for escapism now, more so than connectivity. Maybe I'm tripping.
Nah, that makes a lot of sense.
That's
I don't think you're tripping. Did you want to say something, Vinny?
Nah, in terms of like it was almost like a camaraderie of struggle before through us, you know, and it's almost, I don't want to say mediocrity, I don't want to say lack of struggle, but they face new challenges than we faced when we was like running wild in the streets, you know? Like it just seems like it was dog eat dog when we was kids, you know. There was no second place trophies when we was kids. You was there or you wasn't. Today there's a lot of
you had to go get it by any means, bro.
There's a lot of help, there's a lot of assistance. People care a lot more than they did when we was kids. A kid crying when we was kids would have been laughed at. A kid crying today, help is sought for the nigga. Like it's just a different world we in, bro. Like,
yeah. Well, his where I want to start at this point in the conversation. First of all, because company man keeps commenting in the chat, and I want to respond to something that he said because it feels like he keeps responding to things that I'm saying. So he says, I'd love to hear an example of someone who learned hip hop in college. And company man, I love you, but I don't know if you're being purposely facetious about like that. That's clearly not the exact 100% point. It wasn't a literal point that I was making. The overall point that I'm making is that, and this speaks to what Jarv was saying about life-changing and the experiences not being the same. Back in the day, and this was a very integral part of like the whole Jay-Z and Nas beef at 25 years ago, is that there were the doers, there were the people that were out in the street, the hustlers, the livers, the doers. They were living it, they were doing it, and then there were the observers, people watching it out of their quote unquote project window, right? That was a very famous line that was drawn between, Jay-Z saying that a Nas is just like, yeah, he writes well, he put pen to paper and make up his life, invent his life or whatever, but he was looking at shit through the project window, right? Or he was observing from wherever he was observing from. He wasn't actually living it. There was those of us that were actually living it. But both of those things to me were very important opposite sides of the same coin, right? Living in a certain environment, living in a certain neighborhood, living in a certain element of danger, living in, a place of not having, right? What I'm saying now, I'm not saying that a rapper like J. Cole just learned hip hop in college. But what I am saying is that I think it's easier now for certain artists to just stay in their room 24/7. They don't have to go outside. And a lot of them don't go outside. You know, you communicate on your phones or your computers. You experience life through social media. You know, all your friends are in the same chats. You play video games online. Nobody goes what's a party or a club anymore? Like, nobody really goes outside. So like, when you are at home as a young artist and you're like, all right, what is quote unquote real hip hop? And you go on the YouTubes and you go on the blogs and you go on social media, you go on Twitter and TikTok and everywhere, Instagram or whatever, and you're like, oh, A Tribe Called Quest, got it. Oh, Nas, I got it. Oh, this element of Jay-Z, I got it. Oh, you know, and you start just making notes about what real hip hop is. You know, oh, this is the kind of beat to make for real hip hop, you know. But if you're constantly doing that just in the confines of your four walls and not going outside to actually live, to create experiences that you can inject into your music, that's gonna show in the music. The lack of that is gonna show in the music, right? And that's ultimately the point that I'm making, and ultimately I think the point that Cyhi is making. Again, the college thing kind of, you know, makes it murky, but that's the point. You know, I hope that makes it clearer, especially for company man. You know, let me know in the comments if it's not clear yet.
Yeah, and I think it just goes to the thing that we were talking about with J. Cole, like with this album in particular. And when we say things like this album might not be for us, but it's for his fans. And I think that point, people take it as a shot, not understanding that there's a certain thing that we came up with, and it is a generational divide. There's a certain thing that we came up with, that we listened to, that we connected to, that his music just doesn't do for us. You know what I mean? And that's not a crime or a shot. At least for me. To me, when I read Cyhi's tweets, that is a shot at J. Cole, because the timing of it and who he's talking about, he didn't put an address on it. Shout out Leroy Green, but nevertheless, it's nigga, like, what we doing here? We are all, this ain't no kiddie podcast. This ain't the shade room. I think I can confidently say that we are all super adults. Yeah. Us on the platform, I already know that, but the people in the chat, it don't take a rocket scientist to know he's talking specifically about J. Cole. Yes. And his point is, aggressively at that, is that he can't feel Cole, because the shit he rap about and his experiences and the way he conveys his message just don't move him. And instead of just saying that in a tweet, he took a roundabout way of talking about college and experiences and real street niggas and whatever the case may be to over-explain it. Because it's like, bro, like, that's why I always say, I talk to my brothers, I say it all the time. Sometimes it's better to just say the thing. Why right. You like, if you gonna, that's why when niggas disrespect myself or my team, I just disrespect them right back. I'm not gonna take the high road. I'm gonna tell you how I'm feeling, because it's better to know where that person stands and where they coming from than to tap dance around it. If you felt like you listened to the Fall Off, you listen to all 1 hour and 41 minutes of the Fall Off, you being Cyhi the Prince, and you couldn't come away with nothing that moved you because you can't feel him as a man by way of the experiences that he's conveying in his raps, then just say that. Why you gotta drag down all the other college niggas? You know what I'm saying? Now you creating a whole rhetoric of street and this and that and this and that. Again, nigga, I went before I took college seriously. I was at City Tech, nigga. City Tech, again, as a New York. I'm taking you to New York today. As a New Yorker, City Tech is one of the mixiest colleges in New York City. It was mad niggas not doing nothing in City Tech. At gangbangers in City Tech, nigga. Real street niggas, scammers at City Tech. So he does this make him a square because he went to college? No. Why even mention that? But the thing is, if you're tap dancing around the issue, Cyhi, which is what you did by way of throwing college in there, you're not talking about the fact that you can't feel J. Cole. That's why I said it on a platform, on my platform. I didn't feel the album because I didn't feel nothing, because what he's talking about doesn't move me. Like the way he's conveying his message, his experiences, shit like that, it just doesn't move me, because it's like, I don't like a lot of what he's rapping about. I did that already. I lived it already. I went to the party. I survived the let out. I've gone to old neighborhoods. I reminisce. Like, this is like, you not telling me nothing that's or at the very least conveyed in a way to where, like, it sticks to me like, oh, I remember when I used to go back over there and I felt that before I had a car, when I would go literally take the train around for 98th to go visit my old neighbors and shit, and I felt something. You know what I mean? Like, to me, the way he delivered that message, just like, where's the feeling? Where's the soul? Right? Some people don't need that soul. But the 40-year-old me, 41 now, I need that. Because that's how messages were conveyed to me in my era. You think about like post-Kanye, college dropout, all of that, and the artists like Cole who came behind that, and the Sonics changed. A lot of them are still chasing Ye with the Sonics. And the way they deliver certain messages, especially the graduation. Specifically graduation, and a little bit of 808s, the way they put albums together. Mm-hmm. And it's like, whereas I'll hear a Stove God, the samples breathing, his horns on that shit. He talking about how the fucking the boiler waters, his theme music and shit like that, super descriptive, and you feel it, right? When I hear Cole, I don't that none of the way he raps connects to me, right? Is that a crime against J. Cole? Nah. That just means that his art is not for me. And that's all Cyhi had to say, in my opinion. He's a college guy, single parent home, white mom, all of that, whatever. He could have talked about all of that. His story is boring to me. That's all he had to say.
Put a name on it.
I just feel like,
because how much fake street niggas we know in rap?
Right.
Niggas who claimed that they were street niggas, and then lo and behold, they was Papa Doc, but they made good music. So, go ahead, Mace. I'm sorry.
Nah, you was cooking. You inspired me to think about it even more, because that's the thing, right? Like, I really ultimately feel like it's misplaced anger, bro, because the only reason that the Ye's and the Coles and the nerds that he feels took over the game, it's because the street element was giving us stale, boring music. I was there in 2006, in 2007, when 50 Cent wasn't making good records anymore. And Fab was giving you the same club record over and over. And Jeezy just made the same album for the third time. Like, I was there. They left the lane open for this to come forward. So if you want say, yo, street niggas need to make better music again. How about that? Cyhi. How about that?
Including
spinning blocks and going to jail and getting stuck in indictments, and we start making better music again. How about that?
Permission to retort to that, please.
Cook.
Because I know we're trying to move on. I think the part that Mace is leaving out is that, yes, Cyhi had very close ties creatively and professionally with Kanye West. Yes, Kanye West is famous for the college dropout and then late registration and then, graduation, all college themed, right? But remember remember the mission that Kanye had when he made his first album, right? He made it a point to say, I know I'm not street. I know I'm wearing pink polos with the collars up, you know what I mean, and blazers. I'm not that street element, but I'm going to have Jay-Z on my albums. I'm going to have Cameron on my albums. I'm going to have, I'm going to put Freeway and Mos Def on the same song. I'm going to, you know what I mean? Like he knew the assignment. He knew that if he didn't have that element had to be in there somewhere. Late registration, same thing. Graduation, same thing. All throughout his entire career, he knows what he was missing in his music, in his within himself, to know that there had to be injections of that in the music and in the projects and in the art somewhere, So we can't just say like, Kanye West by himself. Sure, he wasn't street, but he definitely knew to bring the street element into the music, or else it would have. Imagine listening to nothing but Kanye West throughout the entire college dropout. That would not have hit.
He was rapping though. That
would not have hit the same.
It sounded real good though. It's the streets definitely helped, but the album still was sounding really good though. You know what I'm saying? That's why I did the best with Jay-Z, because you got the musicality mixed with the street element of Hove.
Nah, but see, like, we're not telling the truth here. At least we telling a half truth, and I don't want to put that on sin. But what I'm saying is, like, a lot of the niggas that's in the streets. They wasn't playing Kanye, even if he did have Hove and Freeway on. Let's tell the truth here. Like Kanye fan base wasn't street niggas. They was not, bro. So like even if he tried, there was a very particular audience. Some of them didn't look like us. I'm not gonna play that card today, but some of them, a good majority of them, I've met full-on racists. I'm gonna go as far as that, who love them some Kanye West. They'll go out there and they'll wave that red flag, but they'll tell you how much they love the College Dropout. Okay, so that being said, Kanye wasn't connected to the street niggas like that, so we can't even use that argument. Saying I gotta disagree with you. Like he tied in some of it, and some of us came over the music lovers, but the street niggas was not Jack and Ye, bro. Tell the truth, B.
Not early on.
Still not. What you mean early on? What are you talking about? Niggas was not bumping College Dropout. They wasn't bumping late reg. They wasn't bumping Graduation. No, they wasn't.
They was bumping Graduation. They was definitely bumping Graduation. Wait till I get my money right. That was ringing off.
You're right. But Jeezy was on that. That was the Jeezy element. Jeezy and Tomb Drums, nigga, get the fuck out of here, bro. They was not playing.
That's what I'm saying.
That's the streets, though. That's the streets. That's the element of the streets.
None of the 808 shit.
None of that 808
songs. And then for my final point, and I swear this will be my final point. What is it that we have been saying about when we love to hear J. Cole? When he's a feature on somebody else's record, usually a more street artist record. That's when we like J. Cole.
On a beat that
all of a sudden, you got J. Cole by himself. What's our favorite song off the album? The Detroit with Future.
Word.
Everything else, we can leave it.
Nah, you're right.
I'll rest my case.
Future brought that feeling. You know what I mean? That's the thing. That's why I said when it comes to Cole, this album not for me.
What's the feeling though? What's the feeling though?
What's the feeling?
What would you
streets, nigga?
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Need it. It's soulful,
you know what I mean?
Bro.
But again, it's like, and that's the thing. It's like and that's the thing. Like we could have these conversations, and we could have bills because it's like we're not living and dying with these rappers the way some of these other fans are. Right. So it's like when we like to me, like if I say to the four of us, we having a whole debate. Sim brings up Rock Marciano, and I tell Sin, yo, you know, he got a couple joints I like, but generally he's not for me. Sin is not gonna get offended by that. The J. Cole fans gotta stop getting offended by niggas that say that this album is not for them. That's not an attack on Jermaine.
Right.
I'm telling you that as a hip hop head, I did my due diligence to spin the album and spin it often, and I can truthfully say it's not for me. At no point did I call it whack. I said I felt like it was a little underwhelming in pockets, and it's a cool 6.5 out of 10 for me personally. It's a solid album, but I don't think it's a classic. But I know the messaging, it's not for me. So what that means is what? If I'm telling you these two elements, it's not for me, and I don't think it's a classic, then you gotta kind of sort of take my opinion with a grain of salt. I've given you the handbook. I'm telling you it's not for me, and it doesn't move me in a way to where I could call it a classic. Right. So that means that my opinion might be skewed. That doesn't mean, and we're going to get to the next topic right now. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe option, hit the notification bell. Especially hit the like button. Press play, hit like. Hit the like button. I don't know where we at right now if we had 24K subs yet. But hello, go ahead. If you're not subscribed yet, subscribe to the Rap Roundtable. You know, shout out to Dead End Hip Hop. Shout out to the company man being on those platforms recently. Has absolutely raised our profile. We've got some new subscribers over the last couple of weeks, but we're trying to get to that nice little 24K. Can you hit that subscribe option? You know what I mean? But to the next topic of it all, there's this rhetoric and it's being pushed. Shout out company man with the super chat, throw it up there real quick. You know, this is a great discussion. My only issue is people faking who their reality, projecting a life that they're not living. Hey, you and Cyhi got to sort that one out, brother. You know what I mean?
A fact.
You and Cyhi got to probably fade in the backyard real quick. You know, a little slap boxing. But this whole idea from J. Cole fans that people went into the fall off with bad faith. They didn't go in and listen in with a fair ear. And that any person that's generally critiquing the album they're doing it from a position of bad faith. I think that argument in and of itself is a bad faith argument. Mesito, what do you say to Rob Markman who's saying that people going into it with an unfair ear?
Sounds like Cope to me. We all have our biases. Your bias maybe let you like J. Cole a lot. So you know what I mean? You're actually going into it with the super positive ear, right? If we've gotten to that, that's every piece of art, every piece of content, every piece of anything. All of us have our own thoughts about something when we go in to listen to it. If you're telling me that the large majority of us, like, of course, there's some of us that hate Cole, right? When I say some of us, I don't mean me. I mean the zeitgeist. You know what I mean?
Not
I mean
sin.
culture.
Say it. Sin. It's sin.
Not sin.
Listen. You know what I mean? Scott Summers is gonna Scott Summers. All right. But so listen, that to me it sounds like coping. It sounds like something that you only really give a damn about when it's your favorite artist being unfairly critiqued in your eyes. You feel what I'm saying? Like it's very, very rare, and I don't even mean myself, that somebody is going into a piece of art and don't feel some type of way. They might have liked their last project, they might have disliked their last project, they might have liked something they said, maybe they hold the same political view as you, so you like them. Maybe you don't like how they dress, so you're looking at them corny. There's a hint of bias in every single piece of art we consume when we do. So it's like, if you're telling me like everyone said for the most part that they were let down by the Cole album outside of Cole fans. So doesn't that in turn mean that the Cole fans were the one that went into it with a positive thought? You know what I mean? If all the rest of us felt like we were a little bit let down by it, you know what I mean? It's pure cope. And you know what I'm saying? I know I say that respectfully because I know it's going to be a lot of that potentially from Club Paradise if Drake lets down with Iceman. I don't respect it from any fan base, including the fan base that I'm a part of. So nah, that's I can't respect it. You know what I'm saying? Like, if we'd all said it was great, you wouldn't have cared if because Cole is somebody who ultimately has everyone's favor, if you want to be honest, at least before this, little battle situation. So it's like all the Cole albums that people said they liked because they like Cole, should we now look at it with a grain of salt? Like, maybe y'all just like the character and not the guy? It's just too many caveats that can be thrown into this. And it's very fanish to make this type of statement to me.
Ooh, fanish is crazy. Dini the Balance, what are your thoughts on this whole situation? Bad faith listening led to a low J. Cole grade.
It's not bad faith listening, bro. If that's the case, we can ask everyone everything that they don't like and tell them that they're just a hater for not liking it. Like, yo, you like the fish sandwich at McDonald's? Nah, you just ain't eating it right with the tartar sauce, bro. You got to change up and eat it this way. That shit sounds stupid, bro. You just don't like what you just don't like.
Chef himself.
Yo, bro, I really tried, bro. But like I said, I use the word dry. I'll go with the word arid. You know what I'm saying? If that's the better word. It doesn't. Like I go back to my restaurant analogy, bro. Like you can't say nothing's wrong with the restaurant. It just like this food is just a little underseasoned to me. That's how I feel about the album. There's nothing outright wrong with it. There's no, like I said, the utensils are ice clean. The service is great. It just a little underwhelming to me. And I think I'll be okay. I'll be okay. You'll be okay too. Like, I hate that shit though, bro. Like, if you don't like the new Jeezy album, you ain't sold enough coke for you to like the Jeezy album. You ain't listened to the Cam album. You ain't wear enough pink to like the Cam album. Stop that shit. That shit is whack, bro. Because if that's the case, we can do that with every single thing, like from here to Cancun. Like, no funny shit.
Dini, sick of this shit.
Sick of it.
Consider rap style. I don't know. I feel like somebody might get kicked off the lawn here. I'm about to get out the way.
No, my brothers are cooking, man. My brothers are cooking. I don't have too much more to add, but I do want to say, like, we all know that I have certain, certain things that get under my skin. Number one on the list is always the what about it. But what about when? Shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Let's stay on top. Second, as we were talking about earlier, if you have so much to say, if you don't like it so much, why don't you do it yourself? Like imagine going into a restaurant and me complaining about the food. And I'm like, waiter, like, I'm not really happy with this food. And the waiter clapping back at me, barking at me, like, well, if you don't like it, why don't you cook it, motherfucker? Like, what the fuck? No, I went to a restaurant because I wanted to see what the food was like. And if I don't like it, I don't like it. I can say I don't like it and I'll go to another restaurant. It doesn't mean that I have to go home and learn how to cook the shit myself. It means that I might want to go to another restaurant where they might make it better. right?
Or even worse, that you don't understand the subtle intricacies of flavor going on with the shit that you just don't like, bro. I don't like the way this shit. It don't taste good to me. Period. Like that's it. It ain't nothing about like my flavor buds have been severed from none of that.
Your
none
taste
of that.
buds, man. He said flavor buds.
Exactly.
On, man. Flavor buds.
And so on to that.
You heard me? Shit, me, guys. My fault, Brody.
No, all good. Onto that list, I think I'm gonna have to add this particular sentiment on the list. Well, if you don't like it, it sounds like you went in with preconceived notions and biases. Bro, like I could say that for you liking the album. Yeah. Just like you guys said. You guys just said this, right? And I'm gonna reiterate it, right? And like whatever side of the coin that you fall on, that same it's basically like a nothing argument. Like you could say that about absolutely anything, right? Which Deanie just made the point. You know, I don't like the album. Oh, I came in with biases. You like the album? You came in with biases. Now we're back in square one. You know what I mean? I could tell you this. You know, I go into things as much as I possibly can with a fresh ear and try to like shed my biases. There are Cole albums that I like. I like the offseason to this day. I gave the offseason a great review when it dropped, right? Or reaction or whatever we call it, you know? Nothing from then to now has made my opinion on that album change. But you know, context matters. It exists. And going into this album, you know, I was expecting something a little bit grander than what I got. You know, you try to put aside like, you know, all of the events that led up to this album dropping, but I keep trying to, like, I've been saying this for years. Shit does not exist in a vacuum. I don't care how much you want to pretend that you go into things and you put yourself in a bubble and you shut everything else out and you want to just judge things 100% solely on its merit. That's the goal. That's the goal for us. But that shit doesn't exist, right? Everybody goes in with a certain level of biases. The thing is to be aware of your biases, right? And make those known, which I think I have and most of us have, right? We have here. But shutting biases is just impossible, right? So I went into this album, you know, trying to take it at face value, putting everything in. And you know what? And to be honest, I think J. Cole made it easy to put, you know, everything else aside because he didn't really address it on the album. So, you know, it wasn't a thing where like, oh, this is what he's saying about it. Oh, that's what he's saying. Like, no, like he built a different world on this album apart from, right? Mm-hmm. It's like he built a bubble for this album apart from everything else that's happened in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Right. Which I commend him for. Right. So it made it easier to go in and judge it on its own merit. But still in all, I came away from it judging it on its own merit as much as I could. And I enjoyed the first disc and I didn't enjoy the second disc, and that's where it's gonna stay.
All right.
I don't give a fuck what else anybody has to say about it.
And that's the thing. Like, first and foremost, it's like even comments like this. Like, shout out One's Bundy, you know. He's saying, y'all don't have to like the food, but don't ruin it for the people sitting down enjoying their meals. Like, what does that even mean in this case? What does that mean? Like, if we so what I'm saying, so based on the logic of this comment, that means that if we don't like the album or don't quote love the album, we shouldn't say anything. Like, what does that mean?
Or we're ruining your meal.
Hold up. According to that point, that he thinks that we're going over to other tables and be like, yo, drop that food. That shit is trash.
Something we never do.
I mean?
When the truth is,
what we do. People are coming to our table. Food. We are the table. We are the table in the restaurant. Everybody wants to come and ask our opinion on what you think of the food. What you think of the food.
Facts.
If we say we don't like it, oh, why are you ruining the experience? You shouldn't have asked us.
Because the thing is,
don't come to our table.
Because Sin, the thing is, if let's say now this album dropped and we didn't say a word about the fall off, you know how many comments in the chat, in the comment section we would get if we didn't talk about the album? Why, like, you know what I mean?
Number two,
that's what I'm saying.
Why the fuck the fact that we don't like it make you ruin your experience, bro? You know how many albums I've loved that people hated? I didn't say, oh, you guys are ruining the album for me. For me, I love it, my nigga. Like,
y'all act like we're slapping the spoon out
of your
bro. Hands, bro.
Don't enjoy that.
Like, and that's the thing, is like we've never once said, you know what, this album is whack, don't listen to it, etc., etc. That's not our body. We've had full-on debates with actual supporters. Case in point, when the Nas album dropped with Primo, we were, first of all, we were a divided table on that. Some of the chat love it, some of the chat didn't love it, and we was cool with that. And we move on. We invite the conversation. But the whole thing about don't ruin it for others, how, Sway? You know what I mean? That doesn't make sense. Like don't say nothing else in the chat either until you explain how that comment makes sense in the zeitgeist of this conversation here. Like, there's no, like, you make no sense, gang. Sorry to you, I fuck with you, but you make no sense. And none of us are above saying things that don't make sense. In this case, you're guilty of it, my friend. But with this project and the whole like bad faith, listen, like, this is what I be talking about when I say, like, we've gotten so far removed from the dog-eat-dog world that we came up in, and the second place trophy energy has replaced that to where, like, you can't, if it's not good or I don't like it, the best response is silence. That doesn't make sense to me. You know what I mean? J. Cole has a lot of supporters. So I know, like, we're going to get jumped every time we say something that might go off track. You sell wild physical units. The promo run is an all-time one. Like, I love what he's doing. Let's be clear. Let's make sure that we get the positive. Even though they're going to ignore the positives, I'm going to say it anyway because I want it to be documented. Because the day I bump into J. Cole, he not going to view me like his dork-ass nigga Ron Gilmore, who thinks I'm some J. Cole hater. I don't got no issues with J. Cole personally. I don't dislike J. Cole. I don't hate J. Cole. I don't have a real issue. I don't want to see him fail. None of the above. I love the rollout. I love what he's doing. Even if it is, to me, a bit performative, still being able to be that big of a star and allow people to touch you, that's dope. Because a lot of rappers, specifically rappers, would never do that. You know what I'm saying? You did. I said people, not men. People.
All right.
You know what I mean?
You got it. All right.
They are touching them. You know what I mean? They touching them. You see the pictures?
Oh, shit.
You dig? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I got to respect that. I got to respect that he has a lot of fans and they're going to jump on us. But this is not sports. This is not politics. We don't have to choose a side. This is art, my nigga. And with art, that means that if there's 10 people in a room full of 11 and they like it, number 11 don't gotta like it because the other 10 likes it. Number 1 can say he don't like it or it's just okay to him. You think everybody loved the Mona Lisa in real time? I'm willing if we went back in time. There was some people probably thought it was some mid. They ended up being wrong. Maybe the historical ended up being wrong, right? But I'm sure somebody fronted on the Mona Lisa. You dig what I'm saying? So it's like this whole idea that, oh, you're a bad faith listener, this and that. Nah, let's be clear. Yes, there were some bad faith listeners. They are Kendrick fans. Sorry, Sin. They are Kendrick fans. They are Drake fans. Sorry, Meeks. Who are, and the thing is, they are very popular fan bases. And I was talking to Dre, not Dre 750 in the chat, but Dre, another Dre who runs a lot of, he's kind of connected dude on Twitter. And I was saying to him, I was like, yo, if your algorithm, he's like like an admin for like a whole Kendrick Lamar page on Twitter, like a Kendrick Lamar community part itself. So if you have run a Kendrick Lamar community and a J. Cole album comes out, what you think your algorithm gonna look like? If you a Drake fan and the J. Cole album come out, what you think your algorithm gonna look like? It's gonna look like a lot of bad faith. But there's more to this world than Drake fans and Kendrick Lamar fans. And there's people like us who went into this album disappointed that he didn't battle, but walking in expecting like, yo, he's a really great rapper. He's been on a run of a lifetime. I'm curious to hear. We talked about how big the double albums are for the hip hop conversations for all timers. I'm curious to hear what this album sounds like. That doesn't mean that I'm a bad faith listener. That means that I'm tapping in and I'm trying to see what it's hitting for. When I press play over the 201-minute listening experience for me, he has some highs, he has some lows, but it was a safe album. That's not bad faith. And to me, it's like, if you said that some people went into this album with bad faith and they didn't give it a fair listen, all right, that's a real perspective. But to say a lot of people, then that means that you're trying to disqualify their opinion of the album not being as good as it could be. And I think that that's unfair because that's not how we are judging art. And if this is an art form and it's rap and it's good and it's bad, people should be allowed to say that without somebody, you know what I mean, getting in their feelings or trying to say, oh, no, you just didn't like it because he didn't diss Kendrick back. Like, if I had $1 for every time I seen that or heard that, I would have a nice bonus, bro. Holy shit. So what if he didn't diss Kendrick? Yes, we kicked his back in. He deserved to have his back kicked in. How come the Cole fans don't say that? Because if I bet you any amount of paper, if the Rose was on the other foot and Kendrick Lamar came outside, said that the offseason was trash and your feature run was trash, and then apologized at the Grand National Tour 2 days later, the J. Cole fans would have kicked kick Kendrick's back in. We would have kicked Kendrick's back in. Hip hop would have kicked Kendrick back in the same way.
Is this your GOAT? Is this your king?
Right, bro. So it's like all of this political side choosing, weird energy, stan energy, cornball energy, bro. That's not hip hop. Because when Nas was beating up Jay, I was coming in here. I never fronted on Nas. If I was trolling Sin in 2008, that's different. We trolling. But in real time, 01, 02, 03, 04, I never used to shit on Nas. I was salty that my guy lost, but I was not saying dumb shit about Nas, or I didn't say Stillmatic was trash or God. I love Godson. You kidding me? That album's fire. You know what I mean? Because I'm a hip hop fan. And it's this stannery and this side choosing shit, it's losing the plot. It's the overarching point of what I'm saying. And that's why when we tell people, a lot of them from all three fan bases, that you're not hip hop, you're a tourist. This is why. Because the hip hop fans are here, like us, we're all tuning into all of their drops. We're listening, and if it's fire, we're a little salty. Macito was on our platform while Drake was getting his back kicked and telling you how fire the Kendrick disses were. Shoulders by his ears, still giving grace because he's a hip hop fan. This is history. Vice versa. When Cole was on top of the world, we was one of the few platforms I was giving it up to him and say he was the best in the world. When niggas did not want to hear that. Niggas are still. I found a segment where I even asked Sin, like, yo, why is hip hop not giving Cole his due? That's a real segment on this platform. We've been there, nigga. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, at the end of the day, if we come on and we say this album's not it don't got nothing to do with the battle. It don't got nothing to do with him not or tapping out, whatever you want to call it. We just listen to this project right here, grading him on himself, against himself. He has done better. And that's where I'm going to leave it at. That don't mean that I didn't listen to it fairly. It just means that, to me, Tony the Dome, this album didn't land. And I should be allowed to say that shit. The fuck out of here.
I just cooked y'all. And ultimately, it's very disingenuous to make that comment about J. Cole. Like, everyone is going into Kendrick and Drake albums in good faith. There's literally half a fan base tearing each other down with every release that they drop, every song that they drop. Like, this is what that's a statement on, is the fan and stan culture in modern music. You can judge it by that, but to just like point out J. Cole and said, hey, they're listening to his album in bad faith, like I want to listen to that Lil Baby album that just dropped. That's what I'm listening to in bad faith. Wham. Okay, that's you know what I mean? I was hating as soon as that came on. But with J. Cole, nah, you know what I mean? I wanted to be, I was listening for one of the greats and hoping for his magnum opus, and that's not what we got.
That's all. That is all. Most heads wanted a magnum opus. You've been talking about the fall off for mad years. Mad years.
And that, I mean, and ultimately that's another factor that plays into the general reception of the album. Is like 10 years they'd be talking about this album. That shit better be the best album of all time. Like, what are you talking about? Bro,
crazy. Supposed to drop and it got pushed back 2 more years. It's just a lot, man.
We gotta move on though. We hit the like button, hit the subscribe option, hit the notification bell. Hell of a pod. Over 600 across multiple platforms right now. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe option. If you're on Twitter, hit the like button, reshare, and follow us on Twitter, on here, on YouTube. Like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that subscribe option. Run it up. We're trying to build this brand. We're trying to, continue to have the type of conversations that people really want to hear be spread as much as it can be. You know what I'm saying? Pause, because that was crazy. You know what I mean? But we want to make the round table grow so that anytime I tell a nigga to fuck out of here, he can't use the subscribe option as the subscriber number as an insult. You know what I mean? I feel like our subscriber numbers carefully curated because we could have did the Dickhead podcast years ago and just chased the stats. We chose to curate this shit the right way. You know what I mean?
Organic, gang. It's a 23.9 organic. I know for some people that ain't the trillions, but yo, when you do it from the bottom the right way, this is the way this shit goes, man.
We could have clickbaited y'all to death years ago. We chose not to do it. Even when niggas was accusing us of clickbaiting and being fake Nas fans, we never did that. We did the shit earnestly, and we will continue to do it earnestly. But again, we got to move on. Lil Russell, a guy that we never talk about on the Rap Roundtable. But quite frankly, we probably won't talk about him at all today. But what he did was spark a conversation that, it's been had for quite a few years. Cyhi's been having it in his corner of hip-hop. I've been talking about it. I've gotten in a lot of trouble for kicking this artist's back in. But the gist of the conversation with Lil Russell over the weekend that again had people talking. It's been a hectic weekend on the internet, long story short.
That's a fact.
Is that Lil Wayne, once he got older, he realized that Weezy F Baby lacked substance. A conversation that we've had on the periphery. We're talking about albums being overrated. We've had arguments. I've got cursed out on Twitter, all over 3 million views in that tweet. I'll take 3 million views 10 times out of 10, but I did get cursed out. You know what I mean? But saying that he got older and he realized Wayne had no substance, people are offended. They're livid about this shit. Cyhi the rap snob, you tried to Christopher Columbus it like we all ain't been kicking Wayne back in for years.
I knew you fucking seen that shit. I couldn't just say
Christopher Columbus
it had
over
to
here.
be we.
Yes.
Come on, bro.
Yeah,
Christopher Columbus trying to claim it like we all ain't on the same page here. Maybe not all.
A lot of years of Wayne smoke on this pod, bro.
What are your thoughts? Yeah, real quick, we have no issue with Lil Russell. FBA King, we got no issues with Lil Russell. What we're saying is that we're not kicking his back in because a lot of people who never talked about him on their platform decided they want to kick his back in. That's not what we doing. We just saying what he said sparked the conversation, just so that we are all clear here. Does Wayne, Wayne, no substance. What are your thoughts on Lil Russell's opinions, and what are your thoughts on Wayne not having any substance?
My thoughts are very well documented on this podcast, but for anybody that has not
a lot of new faces
heard or seen those thoughts or are new subscribers, I will reiterate. Lil Russell did not lie. Not a single lie told in what he said. And to put it in full context, like he did go back and say, like, he is a Lil Wayne fan. And within the larger context of the conversation, like you kind of understand where he was coming from, and he was saying that there was like a phase in his listening of Lil Wayne where he was like, oh man, like he's not really talking about very much, right? Perfectly fair thing to say. The entire internet lost their fucking mind because Lil Wayne, I guess, is he's one of those rappers, MCs, artists that you can't say shit about. But he didn't lie. Like, what's the problem here? Like, we've talked about it here extensively. Like, look, I don't want to put any words in anybody else's mouths here at the table. This is me, Sincere, the rap snob, at Sincere Beats on Twitter and Instagram. If you need to holler at me and DM me and curse me out. As far as the legends go, because we can't take his legendary status away from him. The culture has already placed that there. We can't do nothing about that. But as far as the legends go, he's the most overrated legend of all time. To me, you know what I mean? In terms of classic albums, lacking. In terms of innovation, lacking, unless you want to count, auto-tune, which, what's his name was already doing. What's I forget his name. T-Pain, thank you. T-Pain was already doing. You know, he just brought it over into the rap world. I'll give Kanye some of the quote unquote credit for that too. He shouldn't have been doing that auto-tune shit. Anyway, and in terms of like the groundbreaking lyricism, like here's my thing, and I'm gonna always go back to this point and how I saw it unfold in real time during that time. You know, if you grew up in that era and this was your first your first introduction into punchlines, metaphors, similes, you know, all of this, like clever clever lyrics and bars. I could understand your vantage point, but coming from the previous era, there's nothing that Wayne ever spit in terms of like what people laud him for, like the mixtape Wheezy, as Jay-Z put it in that song one time. There's nothing that I heard Lil Wayne ever spit that made me put him over a Big L, a Fabulous, you know what I mean? A Lord Finesse, a Cannabis.
You naming a bunch of people with no substance, but
a red. Hear me out. A red man.
Shit.
A red man. You know what I mean? And so when it comes to that type of, you know, MCing, there were MCs that I went to way before I went to Wayne for those type of bars, right? Now to Mace's point, because he thought he had a gotcha, but you know, you were mistaken. Now you might say those MCs don't really got no substance, right? They don't really talk about like real life shit. You know, the state of the world, the state of the hood, like personal stories, like got you, you know, but also none of those MCs are ever put in that same pedestal that Lil Wayne is put in, right? And ultimately, I think that, you know, what ended up happening was that, you know, Lil Wayne came up in an era when a certain region had taken over the airwaves with snap music, with ringtone music, you know, and then all of a sudden he comes in and says, let me remind y'all what lyrics sound like, what metaphors and punchlines sound like. You know what I mean? And I naturally got it from his predecessors who had done it better. And all of a sudden, the entire hip hop community is like, oh my God, Lil Wayne, like how he's so clever. Like, oh my God, the punchlines, they're kicking like Luke King. Holy, how the fuck did he think of that? Like
real G's moving silence like lasagna, bro.
And then, you know, and then he made some hits, you know, the lollipops and whatnot. And that combination of things is like, oh, he's the best. He's got to be the best. He's got punchlines and metaphors on his mixtapes, and he got hits on his albums, right? And there was nobody else around at that time to really challenge him. You know, we had, you know, you had 50 Cent, you had Nas, you had Jay-Z, but Nas and Jay-Z were already like on, you know, the twilight of their career almost, you know. 50 Cent never wanted to be like the illest MC. So, you know, and then Kanye, who's a producer first. So by default, it went to Wayne. That's how I see it. But in hindsight, and this is what's interesting to me, is that the previous, by and large, I feel like the previous generation before the Wayne era looks at Wayne the same way, that similarly to how I do. And now the newer generation is going back and doing the knowledge and listening to Lil Wayne in real, you know, in real faith, in real time, and like, he really wasn't talking about very much. How did he get this acclaim? How did he get this spot? How did he get put on this pedestal? The only people that are still holding on to the Wayne reign, I'm sorry, Mace, it's you guys. It's your generation.
Oh,
Y'all
shit.
are holding on to it. Us for before you, we're like we never saw the big deal. The people now in the the Kendrick
TikTokers,
Cole,
we listening to the TikTokers.
the Kendrick Cole and Drake generation. I'm like, we don't really see the big deal either. It's just y'all holding on to it.
He's not wrong in a lot of ways, though, Mace. I really want to hear your response, but he's covering he's covering a lot of ground. Nah, this needs to be you. He's covering a lot of ground. A lot of people in our age, I know a little 5-6 year difference makes all the difference, bro. But a lot of our people felt like, yo, like he was cool. Like, you know what I'm saying? I felt like people started putting him, like, I thought Lil Wayne was good money till niggas started saying the whole like greatest rapper alive shit. I was like, nah, y'all done fucked it up. You know what I'm saying? As far as music, we can respect that he got some joints. The whole substance thing is kind of crazy because a lot of niggas lack substance. If we want to start getting the shovels out, we'd be digging a lot of graves, you know. But in terms of like,
it's a lot of guys that like substance, but are those that lack substance put on that same pedestal that Lil Wayne is?
There's levels of lack substance, and in terms of who Lil Wayne is without the lack of substance is kind of like incredible. He's looked at as a god from the people of his ilk. You know, he's the manifestation of, we got the young thugs, the gunners, the rich homie Quans, R.I.P. You know, this is the ilk of Wayne. You know what I'm saying? So what say you on this, Mace?
Nah, it's just, listen, ultimately, I'm not going to argue with Sin on most of the points he made, because I don't think this is a point about people not liking Wayne. I've dealt with that. Like, it is what it is. You know what I mean? That's just like you say, it could be generational. It could be regional. It could just, you know, it's a bunch of different reasons. So I'm not even necessarily upset about that. But the entire crux of the argument, the substance argument, which it's just people using this as some sort of, because you right, Lil Russell can like what he like. He say he a fan, you know what I mean? I get it. You know what I mean? He has black friends, I guess. You know what I mean? But for me personally, it's like it's an argument. People love to make arguments against people with their Achilles heel, right? You know what I mean? This person doesn't have hits when they got everything else. This person doesn't have great albums, but they got great singles. Like, of course, Lil Wayne, by large, has always been what? He's a punchline rapper. That's you know, at his base form, he is a punchline rapper. Punchline rappers aren't the ones rapping about substance over and over. To say that Wayne has no substance is a blatant lie. It shows a lack of knowledge in his discography. You have Shooter, you have Georgia Bush, you have Tie My Hands, you have multiple songs, Let It All Work Out. He has multiple songs that speak about something. Like, when you say substance, do you mean political commentary? He has songs with political commentary. Do you mean introspection? Well, how do we know about his relationship with his mother and how he shot himself and things that happened in his life? Like Lil Wayne has rapped about things. Now his average, what he regularly does when he goes out there, he spits. He's a punchline rapper. But when did we get so upset about somebody being a punchline rapper? If you're upset about him being, you know, ultimately the most successful punchline rapper ever, and feeling like somebody with that style shouldn't be able to be with people, Sin, relax. You right here, bro. I got you. But when we, like, if you're saying that a punchline rapper can't be held in regard like that, well, maybe that's your argument. But to say Lil Wayne has no substance from somebody that's supposedly a fan, well, Lil Russell, you're lying. Okay? Another thing that we have to do, substance doesn't equal good music. It just doesn't. It's the same reason why Jay-Z did not rap like Common Sense. He didn't want, you know what I mean? He wanted to make entertaining music. He wanted to make hit. He wanted to be a mainstream guy. That is what it is, right? And so ultimately, like, I don't feel like Sin, I understand what you're saying. Like, nobody that raps like Wayne is held to the degree that Wayne is. Redman isn't he in your top 5? What does Redman rap about?
He's not in my top 5.
Where's the substance? He just left. Where's the Redman substance? Where is the Ludacris substance? Where is the
you said substance? You said he just left? I never put Redman in my top 5.
Real quick,
you're mistaken at this point. Like,
hold on, I just want to chime in because this is I'm
not getting this fight.
I'm just saying That what about him argument right there? That's what Sim be talking about. What these niggas got to do with Wayne?
Nah, but let me
substance in the overall scope.
Have substance. We have to identify who he has.
A lot of whataboutisms right now. What about him?
Let me. No. That's fine.
Segment. Let me
no. That's fine. But you asked me a question. You asked me a question. One
at a time, John.
Hi. One mic for a second. Let Mace finish, and you can respond to all of his comebacks.
Yeah.
Because whataboutism is required in this conversation, because when we say Wayne doesn't have substance, we have to identify who does have substance, who doesn't have substance. What is substance? That's required in this entire conversation, because how did he decide that Wayne no longer have substance? Who did he listen to? What made his taste change as a listener? And so that's my entire thing, is that Wayne is somebody who gets defined by this when we have all-time greats that similarly lack substance, at least in my eyes. And my thing is, if you don't like Wayne as a rapper, that's completely fine. That's completely fine. That is what it is. You guys have all made arguments about why Wayne isn't the great rapper that he is. But the argument that you're standing on being, well, he doesn't have substance, so you know what I mean, that he isn't great anymore. That's just not a argument that's applied to every rapper that's out. And at the same time, I want to identify that a rapper having substance doesn't mean that they are a great rapper. That's all I'm saying. When did that become a thing?
Yo, turning red.
Yo, stop sign red, brethren. Blood clot.
Mace getting his lawyer on. God damn.
I see it, Mace. It's working. Send your retort.
He's breaking down two completely separate parts of the argument. Very well. Somebody else might have been persuaded by the way you broke that down. Not I. Did good job. But two things. One, the last thing you said, simply having substance does not make you a great. You're true. That's true. Second, that there are plenty of rappers out there that don't have substance, that are
all-time greats, not just rappers, greats.
No, all-time greats. All right. I'll name you my top five, since you brought up my top five, as if I haven't brought them up enough at this table.
Let's get it.
Nas,
Escobar,
Jay-Z, Biggie, Common, and up to a certain point, Ghostface. But I think I'm gonna have to put Kendrick Lamar. He's, as I've said before, he's inching into my top five. Pause. Evaporate. Name a rapper in that top five that lacks substance. Redman is not in my top five. I love what I've said about Redman. Redman was my first favorite rapper back in '92 when What the Album dropped, and that lasted for about 2 years until Nas came out with Illmatic, and then it was just Nas from there on out. So 14-year-old me in 1992, I'm aging myself. Sure, Redman was like shit. Redman, you couldn't tell me there was anybody iller than Redman. You know what I mean? And he might have still been in my top five through my high school years, but then I matured. You know, there's Biggie, there's Jay-Z, there's Mos Def, there's Ghostface, there's Common, there's loads of other rappers that I started appreciating more because they spoke about more than just like the random shit that's going on in their mind. And to be clear, to be very, very clear, I love a rapper that can just like rhyme some random shit. The non sequitur, the train of thought rhyme. I love that. Ghostface with all his abstraction, I love all of that, right? But at the very same time, he spoke about his upbringing. He spoke about, motherless child. He spoke about all we got is you. He spoke about, he had the verse on Impossible. He has Malcolm on on Supreme Clientele. You know, he has all of these songs that add depth to him. That when you know, it adds layers to his character. It adds layers to who he is as an artist and as an MC. You know, to me, Lil Wayne lacks that. He lacks the layers, is what I'm saying, and what I feel a lot of people are saying. He lacks the layers. If Lil Wayne is your favorite rapper, the way Redman was once my favorite rapper, by all means. But once you start putting him in the same on the same pedestals as Nas, Jay-Z, Big, Tupac, Kendrick, Drake Cole, shit, even DMX. Like, what are we talking about? 50 Cent. What are we talking about? He doesn't belong there. I'm sorry.
I just want to jump in real quick. Macy, you will be allowed to retort momentarily, but we gotta highlight the donkey of the day. Like, we don't really do it often here, but it's like sometimes I crash out and I curse people out. I'm not doing that for this guy. I'm just gonna highlight him as a true ardent donkey. First comment here. Reason Heart says, Wu-Tang, don't be talking about shit.
Don't you disrespect the greats, nigga.
He follows that up by saying Wayne and Big are the same rapper. Holy
Whoa.
Hey.
We need an age
I'm not gonna curse you
here.
out, Gango. I'm not gonna tell you off, Gango, but you are a donkey, and that's all that needs to be said. Macito, do you have a response to Sincere's eloquent reaction? He's not as red as he was a few minutes ago.
He's toned down.
I don't think I've ever upset Sin that bad before, and I've tried my best to piss him off. I don't think I've ever gotten there.
I take the crowd.
Rojo red, bro.
This man was glowing. Okay. Any response to Sin?
Even, and I'll keep it quick because the whole cast needs to get heard on this topic. But even I don't necessarily disagree with what Sin is saying, even there, right? But the artists you named, I won't go as far as OVO Rest in Heart and say Big and Wayne are the same rapper, but within his era, Big was described as one of the people with lesser substance than the people of the 90s. He has been accused as that. Ghostface has been accused of rhyming nonsensical, wrapped around all. Just so I feel like you having the same conversation I've had, where you're like, yo, this artist clearly has a bunch of things that they do talk about, and people will describe Ghostface as somebody who doesn't make sense. That's the same shit they try to do to Wayne. You know what I mean? To be honest with you, so it's not. I feel like
Ghostface sounds better though.
we have
Ghostface sounds better. I'm sorry.
We have a lot of the same argument. I'm not gonna argue taste with you, but my thing is ultimately like, nah, Wayne was never advertised as Common Sense or Lupe Fiasco. We like Wayne for what we liked him for. So if you liked Wayne, I get it. You might have been 14 thinking he said the most profound shit ever, and you feel different now. That's an argument that people have with a lot of artists. On the opposite end, I found myself becoming a Tupac fan as I got older because of the substance he had in his records. So that's, I'm not going to be mad at people's taste. You know what I mean? My whole thing is Wayne not a great, and that's the reason you have. At least come with some Gilly arguments. You know what I'm saying? Like, you going to say Wayne
that goes without saying.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh, shit. No Corey Guns.
There's nothing like.
I'm gonna leave that to John because I know that's John. Those are John bars. I'm not gonna steal John's bars.
I was leaving Gilly out the argument today, but it's well documented that you know how I feel about Gilly and Wayne's ascent into lyricism. It's it's documented. Deanie, have you given a take? I had stepped away because I knew I was gonna need a beverage for this topic, so I stepped away. I don't know if you got in on the topic.
Really quick, but it just. Like even in the way like he mentioned Ghost, I just felt like Lil Wayne has gotten away with so much, and like you just said, like he got the substance, Mason. This sent me because like you named like 3 or 4 joints. We can't say there's water in the desert. We be like, how much? Niggas say 3 or 4 drops. You can't do that, bro. Yeah, that means it's an arid desert, bro. It's dry.
Yo, talk about it, dude.
It just like I said, man, that's very dry metaphors.
That's the biggest he got some joints. That's
you know what I'm saying? Like, bro, like in terms of making me, I mean, somebody mentioned Cameron. You can say you want with the computers, people and all that, but SDE Cam, you know, Confession of Fire Cam had a lot of substance, you know. Like Lil Wayne just never did it for me, bro. I just feel like he was always just so overhyped, overranked, just a lot of overs. You get what I'm saying? Overstated. But I understand what he did for his fans, bro. Like, shout out to my niggas Cleasy and my niggas Leon. Like, they were like addicts for this dude. You know what I'm saying? Back in the when the real shit started kicking off, when Wayne started really setting out on his own journey, Fireman S type shit going forward, they were like die hard, bro. Like, so I was going through this shit arguing the kind of way Job was going through what Mace all them years. I was going through that from way back. So I understand that the effect he has on people who fuck with him, bro. Like, in the same way that I say J. Cole get that 52,000, Wayne would have been another nigga I would have been like, in his heyday could have got 52,000 in there. Like, people who fuck with him. But I always felt like it was a lot of nothing. I just feel like he knew how to pick a great beat. He knew how to rap to a beat, and he just know how to vibe. He was charismatic in his lack of substance. You get what I'm saying? And I feel like if you could do that, you could find a lane. That's pretty much the way I feel about it. I just don't think I don't want to shit on him because of what he did, but he's just never been that type of artist for me, bro. Like,
did I attack Lil Russell? What the fuck is going on?
And as far as Lil Russell, here's the thing with Lil Russell.
You gave Lil Russell a little power early on in your
little bit.
You did.
Like, I've been following Lil Russell for a while, you know, and we never really heard Lil Russell say something, you know, bad, especially now with the signing with Jay-Z. Now they trying to blame the whole Lil Wayne thing on that. No, I think like it's from the way, if you watch the whole clip, if this was a real fan that like really fucked with the dude and now he don't fuck with him. Everybody has an artist like that you was like, nah, he was that nigga. Now you're like, I don't feel that way about him no more. So I respected where Lil Russell came from it, bro.
Well,
shout out to Lil Russell.
That's the thing. And it kind of ties in to the earlier conversation we were having in the midst of the Cyhi the Prince, where when artists make music and you feel something. In that moment in time for Lil Russell, wherever he was in his life when Wayne was rhyming, he felt something. As his life progressed and he moved on, he looked back at that and was like, I don't really feel that no more because it kind of doesn't make sense to me. And I think it was a lot of things where he really wasn't rhyming about nothing. This is a fan of Wayne saying that he really wasn't rhyming about nothing. That's the gist of what he's saying. Yeah. In real time, you're young, you're impressionable, you're not thinking about substance or substantive thoughts to where you are connecting these things and you're like, yo, this is crazy. You're just thinking this guy has a lot of impressive like metaphors, and he was like a machine gun abusing the like metaphor, right? And I think that for a person, especially out west, not as New York snob like us or myself and Sin and Deanie, he's out in Oakland. So his ear, and he's younger than us, if I'm not mistaken. So his ear probably wasn't in tune to certain things. And it's like, you know, Sincere took the rap snob approach. So I don't even need to do that today. This is the rare time where, you know, I'm not gonna be the villain in this Wayne conversation, and I'm happy about that. You know, but I want to be somewhat villainous, but I'm gonna try my best to be nicer about it. I think the issue. Well, I know. Let me not say I think. I know what the issue is when it comes to a lot of us and Lil Wayne's experience is that we talk about history, and it's not enough people. Sin talked about it as well, but it's not enough people who are willing to do the history. I'm not going to name a bunch of older rappers. What I'm going to say is, if you're 41 like myself, Deanie, I think is 41 as well, Sin is in his mid-40s, we've already been to the mountaintop when it comes to experiencing what high-level lyricism is. Like, we were there. We were at the top of it. Oh. We were so, I would say, and I talked about this in the past, the truth of the matter with Lil Wayne and his bars for a lot of New Yorkers of a certain age is because we had already left. Like Metaphors was really like knocking nigga socks off in the late 90s, bro. So when a person of my age or Sin's age is hearing Wayne getting called the greatest lyricist alive for Like Metaphors, especially as a New Yorker, I'm not speaking for other cities. I'm speaking for New Yorker, tri-state area people. Not if you from some other town, some flyover city, I'm not talking to you right now. I'm not talking for you. I'm talking for New Yorkers. So This person right here that's 43 and says that I'm lying. You wasn't from. I could tell by your beard you wasn't from the towns, gang. You not a New Yorker. I just know you're not from my city. You're not from the tri-state. You're not even from Philly. You know what I mean? So during that time, we had cannabis. Cannabis was what is the
fucking problem.
Like he was a dynamo. He was like a shooting star in the late 90s, and he was like metaphoring us to death. We were like, this is the next thing. It didn't quite work out for him, but this is the next thing, and we heard that. We had niggas like Fabulous, early Clue tape, Fabulous Sport, another like metaphor demon. He was hearing this shit already. Even Hove during his time would do it. Jadakiss, SP, She Loosh, the whole Locks, J Hood when he got on. J Hood was a like metaphor animal early on in the D Block era. We heard this shit. So it's like, then you go to Philly and them niggas with they entendres and shit like that. They was animals. So we was already hearing this. And then you get the New York and Philadelphia symbiotic relationship. They come together. They in the towns. They pulling from New York energy. Hove and company pulling from the Philly energy. We heard it already. And I think that a lot of times when people get to talking about it, they punch on Wayne. But they're not saying the important point about we had already heard this level. Like, before New York lost it or the East Coast lost prevalence as far as rap goes, we were so far past like metaphors. We was on some other shit by that point. You know what I'm saying? Like, the lyricism, the way niggas was formatting their bars and their verses was so far gone. And I got to give credit to the Philly niggas, make niggas really improve their shit. But as far as pocket work, how to structure flows, rhymes within rhymes, shit like that, Philly niggas was really made niggas push their pen. You know what I mean? So imagine out hearing all of this expert shit that I forgot about Joe Budden. You had the whole Triangle Offense, the whole Desert Storm Squad, spitters. You know what I mean? So imagine hearing that. You got Ransom, you got the 18 Ransom and fucking Hitchcock. We heard all of this shit already. So when Wayne come through saying he's checking in like Luke King, I'm just using that line as an example. I'm not kicking Wayne's back. But it was a lot of basic things to us that we heard at a more higher level at that point, let's say 7 years ago. Shit, somebody just mentioned Papoose, another lyrical demon. We hearing all of this, and then we seeing Wayne and niggas. You know, if people would have said Wayne was nice, think about the energy around Wayne in the Carter 2. Yo, he was a phenomenon around Carter 2 time. Am I wrong, Mace?
For sure.
The conversation around New Yorkers of a certain age around Wayne didn't change until niggas started talking GOAT shit and best ever shit. And then it was just like, whoa.
I say that's true.
Whoa. We heard better already. How can he be considered a GOAT or GOATed when we heard this from better rappers? And I think that that's where the substance argument comes into play. Because now we not just hearing the like metaphors. Now we're gonna start combing through the lyrics, and then we start realizing that the song is named Black Box, but then he's giving you 3 different verses about nothing to do with what the name of the song is. Now you get to the nitpicking. To Sid's point about substance, you're not even staying on topic with your lyrics. You are all over the place. At least you could be all over the place. You can have like trains of thought, but the song has a connective tissue. There was so many songs from Wayne where it was like he wasn't rhyming about shit that had nothing to do with the song. But what I'm saying is, it became, and let's be clear, a lot of rappers did that. But once you get into conversations of GOAT talk, we have to fine-tooth comb it, especially GOAT talk with lyricism. They didn't say Wayne was a GOAT song maker or a GOAT feature. They say he was one of the best lyricists of all time. And if that is the argument, then we got to start combing. And when we get to combing, it's like we heard mad niggas better. And that's the argument. Did he have more charisma? Yeah. Did he have a better voice? Yeah. Was his breathing at a certain point some of the greatest we ever heard? Because I'm going to tell you right now, Wayne wasn't punching in like a lot of niggas was punching in. Wayne used to go off, right? You got to give that credit. But lyrically, you got to tell the truth. He wasn't that. Is he maybe a top 25er? Lyrically, I could live with that. But top 5, top 10, top 15? Absolutely not, because we already heard better. That's not hate. That's just the actual facts. If you're 27 or you're in your 30s and you never left your city, you didn't experience lyricism in the tri-state area, or you had a grudge against New York because it got too much light, you're not being objective. I don't want to talk to you. But for the niggas who's really ingesting this music shit from coast to coast, city to city, really living with this hip-hop shit, listening to bars for real, I'm talking to you. And every person who really listens to the bars for real would never give Wayne that grace. All these fucking casuals giving Wayne that grace. In the dead bar era, something that we coined here on the Rap Roundtable, he was getting off of lyrics when niggas was telling us lyrics didn't matter. Remember that area when niggas was getting made fun of for being nice at rap? He was the best rapper then. How can we not look at that sideways? These are the arguments that I'm having. I'm not here to shit on Wayne today. Not today. But the reality is, in era for era, it's just like right now in the NBA, Sports Reference. We're talking about the freedom of movement era in the NBA. There's guys like LeBron James at age 41 when you're not allowed to be touched. You're not allowed to do anything. You get to move around, mass space, open shots. Of course, at 41, he can average X amount of points a game because he's not in a position where he has to be physical. You don't got to do shit. You know what I'm saying? You go to what Kobe did in the highest defensive era ever, what he did as a scorer, that carries more weight than the freedom of movement era because it was more difficult to score and he was averaging 35. I'm looking at Wayne Peak and I'm like, he did it in the freedom of movement era. Let me ask you this now. Chat as well. Get out your feelings. We talking rap. And if you an emotional nigga talking about rap, get the fuck out of here. You copy and paste 06 to 08 Lil Wayne. And you put him 2002. Who was he standing out amongst as far as the nice niggas? That is a serious question now. For all the heads in the chat who lived through that. Who are you putting Wayne in front of in 2002 with all of the killers that was out there? Then you can understand where we coming from as far as why we can't really give him that. Is 07 Wayne better than Kiss in 02?
Nothing from the Rough Riders.
No,
nothing.
Absolutely not. 02, we were still in the thick of Jay-Z, Nas, Jadakiss, Rough Riders, DMX was still killing shit.
Still cooking.
Yep. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I'm not mad at that. I actually agree with what Jav. I think Jav actually said what.
It's not a weak ass analogy. In an era where it's easier to score, highlighting point averages don't carry the same weight as an era where it's more difficult to score and you average 30. Dumbass. As you were, Mace.
Nah, I think you said the loudest thing. As far as that's concerned, you could only kind of play against who you play against. You know what I'm saying? That is what it is. But you said the loudest thing before that. Yeah, it's the lyrics kind of sort of, but it's everything else. It's just like you say, it's the voice, it's the flow, it's the work ethic. Let's talk about that because J Hood and Papoose and Jadakiss and all these niggas got outworked by Wayne. That's
I ain't gonna front, and I ain't want to listen to them niggas. I'm gonna come
right. They were uninteresting. They were uncharismatic. They didn't make songs we wanted to hear. They weren't in the studio when niggas called them. Like, it might be a bunch of reasons that Wayne got put as the person he is, but that's, you know, that means the rest of them fucked up to me. If there's a bunch of niggas that was nicer than Wayne, who the general public doesn't say is nicer than Wayne, I think that's up to them more, because we do hold Jay-Z above Wayne. We do hold Nas above Wayne. We do hold the actual greats above him, but
not everyone. That's my thing. It's not everyone.
Can we jump this guy together? Chat, can we jump Willie Adams?
Oh man,
like, we talking about rap. We having a great build about rap. Here go this hoe. This is whole behavior.
Why'd you click the link, bro?
What else were we supposed to be doing?
What you thought we was gonna be talking about ourselves?
Oh, brother.
So we gonna have a freestyle battle up here, bro?
Get him out of here, bro.
Come on, man.
So yeah, it's like it's an interesting conversation, especially now. But I'm not mad at it. You know what I mean? I've always, because I feel like I'm in the you know, age-wise, right in the middle part of, you know, the people who saw what you saw, like you say, Jav, and the people who never saw any of it. So I can understand both degrees, because even coming up as a Wayne fan, and I'll say Wayne was in 07, the year you talking about, Wayne was my favorite rapper.
That's why we used to argue about Wayne, because we will swim by Wayne, bro.
That's what I'm saying. And I don't know if I was in 07 thinking he was better than Jay or Nas or Big, but I definitely was thinking at least he put out more music than Fab. You know what I'm saying? At least he's dropping more features than Joe Budden. At least he's, you know what I'm saying? Is he just the missing portion of that argument to me is the work ethic that Wayne had. He had some of the greatest work ethic in rap history.
Yeah. Like 80 features in 1 year, some shit makes or some shit like that.
And here's where I come in. And this probably is a pretty big factor.
Wayne is Allen Iverson. My fault, Sin. Wayne is AI. Plenty 30-point games, plenty 30-shot nights where he might have went 10 for 30. You know what I'm saying? But it's still, to me, one of the all-timers for sure.
Large fan base.
Yeah. And to that point, good point, Mace. But I mean, this is probably a pretty big factor into how I ultimately feel about Wayne and his legacy. Is that I think he, you know, we could talk about Pac before him, but again, we, you know, tune into our next episode. What is it? 143.
143.
We go into All Eyes on Me and Pac's, you know, Pac's opus that celebrated 30 years recently.
For sure.
You know,
classic.
You know, we could talk about Pac Me Against the World, Pac All Eyes on Me, Pac Machiavelli. You know, so Pac, I think, was the first one to really introduce that level of work ethic into the game. He and I think Wayne followed that blueprint.
For sure.
You know, you come home from jail, you've missed time. The game is moving on without you. You need to, you know, remind everybody of who the fuck you are. And so you come in and you just live in the studio. You bang out song after song after song, and they're all hits. They're all just fucking phenomenal. You know what I mean? You just keep swinging and you keep hitting it out the park. And so I will give Wayne that. Wayne, you know, came home and was like, no, I got to get in the studio and I have to have that same work ethic. And if I want to be considered an all-time great, I have to deliver at an all-time great sort of clip. But my ultimate problem is that it introduced this era of just of ultimately quality over quantity. To me, it felt like quality over quantity. It felt like flooding the market. It felt like throwing everything to see what sticks. If I compare the two, I think, you know, Tupac had a much greater percentage of, you know, songs to hits, or not necessarily hits, but like song to quality, you know, than Lil Wayne did. But in that era where everything was so you know, depleted at the time, it felt like, holy shit, like Wayne, he just keeps delivering another freestyle, another song, another mixtape, another, you know, and the percentage might not have been what we would consider a successful percentage, but as long as he gave us enough, as long as he kept feeding the streets, that's what everybody was looking for. What's the next Lil Wayne freestyle? What's the next Lil Wayne mixtape? What's the next Lil Wayne
era?
Right?
Yeah.
So I feel that, and I give him the credit for that. But to me, coming into that era, I'm like, oh, this is quality. I'm sorry, this is quantity over quality. He's just flooding the market. That's all he's doing. But quality wise, it wasn't all hit.
I mean, well, you know, in that regard, I gotta say he flooded the market and maybe everything wasn't good, but if that's what the market demanded at the time, he mastered it, and we got to give credit where it's due, because wasn't nobody else doing that. He created his momentum. Like, as much as I could argue, and I could, you know, in the past I've talked about Gilly and I talk about Dipset and all of that, Wayne still took it upon himself to come to New York City, be around those guys, learn the lessons he needed to learn, but he still put on for himself. He created the energy around him. There was no major cosign. Maybe there was some heavyweights, like even like a Jay-Z to a certain degree, who, cool, yeah, Lil Wayne. But Wayne created the energy around his name, and I'm not gonna take that from him. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna take that from him. He created the energy, the momentum that he's still riding till his very day. Quite frankly,
the best ability is availability, bro.
Mr. Ohio player, 85%. He was delivering at an 85% clip. Come on.
To the people that fuck with him, to the people that fuck with him,
my
nigga, I've argued with so many Wayne fans, bro. Yeah. The people that fuck with Wayne,
I mean, he said, like you said to you gotta respect Ohio.
He couldn't miss, bro. The people that fuck with him, you can't knock it.
But also within all of that flood in the market, he kept repeating, "I'm the best rapper alive. I'm the best rapper alive. I'm the best rapper alive." You know what I mean? That propaganda gets to people, man. It seeps in,
and that's why it's imperative of people like us to where we show up and we push back against those theories and those lies, because it's not true. Both, like, you put it this way, Lil Wayne had a hell of a run, an all-time run, not even hell of a all-time run. It's gonna when the history of rap music is told, you can't tell the history without Lil Wayne's 06 through, let's say, 09. You gotta talk about that, you know. But at the same time, we can still push back and say, but he wasn't the greatest. And that's fine by me. If niggas want to argue about that and scream New York bias and whatever the case may be, fine. But it's not going to change anybody. No one's willing to change their minds on the topic. So let's just move on. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe option. You know, shout out to everybody who's been subscribing. I checked not too long ago. We are finally over 24,000 subs. So Ted Hill, we are now at 24,000, bitches.
We getting there, nigga.
Now we work our way to 25,000. You know, let's get to these nice round numbers. You know, people with tight Nike techs trying to get people to hate on us. Every time that little world tries to pull us down, you ever notice that we just level up immediately after that? It's really crazy. Maybe we should just leave us alone. You know what I mean? Leave us alone. But we got to get to Kevin Durant. We're not going to talk about him talking about his teammates and how he has a mold in his can that's leaking group chat conversations. We're going to talk about Busby. Busby is a guy that the Rap Roundtable has had run-ins with at multiple times. Apparently, he might be a PDF as well. I don't know. You know, that's not my world. I just felt like that during the Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef, he was a bit of a grifter. And I'm not talking about Busby because I told Busby this on Twitter that he was a grifter. So you don't got to run and tell that. We got into it. We moved on. We had a safer space now. But in real time, it was a little staticky. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I like the guy. He's fine.
Yeah, because he's a Kendrick guy. Of course you do. You know what I mean? That was the irony of it. He was a Kendrick guy, but he was pissing me off. You know what I mean? But he sends screenshots, or posted screenshots, I should say, of Kevin Durant. Like, I would have never thought that an NBA GOAT, can't go to McDonald's in any city in the world, would be this much of a Schmeat rider, bro. Like, I am disappointed. So,
not the Schmeats again.
Hey,
man.
He said, I don't know if y'all saw this, but not the GOAT AWACS, but Kevin. If you don't think Kevin Durant is an NBA all-time great, don't talk to me about basketball.
He's like top 8 in scoring right now, top 7 or some shit.
I'm saying we're not gonna do that. He's an all-time. Kevin Durant talking to Busby sends a slew of messages. If you've been living under a rock, these are the messages. He says, "Buzz, you talked to Kendrick today? Hey, Goof, your daddy dot text you today? Who cares about a chain when you got billions? I'm wondering if your daddy Kendrick knows you exist. Hey, Fats, why do you want Drake dead? Hey, Buzz, you talked to Kendrick today? Buzz, why you ignoring me, man? Stop ignoring me, bro." And this happens between August 14th, 2024 and September 26th, 2024. And this is from Kevin Durant. Not Kevin Durant, you know what I mean? Oh, brother. Like, hey, yo, Mr. A, you going in timeout. Like, it's not about New York. We just have we niggas only New York is the only niggas who can't talk about their history and why we feel the way we feel about music. We the only city. So Kevin Durant, in the midst of the battle, is texting Buzz, who was on fire during the battle, being a super fan. And we've heard him talk about Drake, He was at the embassy when everyone hated Drake as well. What are our thoughts on Kevin Durant being fanned out for OVO, Captain, the face, Drake? Macito, you know he was coming to you first.
Oh, shit.
Salute to KD, bro. Sometimes you gotta call a fucking goof a fucking goof,
shit.
bro. I'm sorry, bro.
Sometimes you gotta call a goof a goof, Mace.
I can't co-sign him talking about his Rockets teammates the way he may have, talking about, triple-double cocaine bear and whatnot. But if you talk about these DMs, sometimes you gotta call a goof a fucking goof. Everything he called Busby was completely correct.
And I really feel like Mace?
I really feel like he did that so I didn't have to do that. Because if you know how many times I done typed up a disrespectful message to Busby and just deleted it, because I got a team. So I can't just disrespect somebody and think that the fallback ain't gonna be on the team. But plenty of times I done told Busby fats, goof, your daddy died. Like, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do, whether you Kevin Durant or not. If you see, it's like fighting crime, bro. Sometimes if you see an old lady purse getting snatched, you gotta step in, bro. Right? That's what KD was doing in Busby's DMs, bro. How I'm gonna get mad at somebody calling a goof, bro? Listen, Crody, this is how we speak to people in the OPO team, bro. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sorry. I'm sorry, bro. KD did what had to be done, bro.
Shit, bro.
Wow. Deanie the Balance, what are your thoughts on KD? Real quick, I wanted to say KD, one of us with the NBA slander. He's definitely one of us because I share a lot of his opinions. But what do you think about Kevin Durant and Busby's DM Deanie defending Drake?
Crash out, man. I done see this nigga with pictures with Drake's kid, bro. That's family, nigga. Crash the fuck out. You get what I'm saying? Trust me, Joe. Ain't nobody gonna be talking crazy about you if I'm on the watch, nigga. You feel me? Like, that's just come on, we got pictures with the family. I think that's his man's. They link back to being mans for a really long time. And he was one of the few people, shout out to May, shout out to Maul, shout out to Academic, that was really in the corner. So I can't knock a nigga for being in his man's corner, right or wrong. That's just man shit. And it's crazy that we getting that from KD of all niggas in the league. So I ain't mad at you, KD, man. Stand up for your brother, man. Fight the good fight. That's his man. So it is what it is.
Go ahead, Sin. I don't, you know what I mean? Go ahead.
That's his man's.
This shit is weird, bro. If nobody else is gonna say it, I'm gonna say it. This shit is weird. I'm of the type to think just being in DMs is weird in general. Again, you can call me old head, you can call me, of a bygone generation, but like if I'm privately messaging you, if I'm in DMs, it's because we have like real problems or something real to talk about. If this is all just like, Twitter fodder, then just have it out on the timeline, bro. Like, he tagged you on Twitter in the timeline. So just respond on Twitter in the timeline and just have it out back and forth so we can all enjoy it. You know what I mean? That to me feels more in line with where, this interaction goes. I feel like it's all kind of, lighthearted, tongue-in-cheek, whatever. But like going into the DMs to do it because this is what this says to me. You're too ashamed to interact with a Busby on Twitter, right? You are Kevin Durant, one of the all-time greatest NBA players in history.
This is true.
Right? Busby, a Twitter personality. Personality, and I'm using the personality very lightly. No disrespect to Busby, but like this is all we know him for. It's just Twitter and being a Kendrick fan on Twitter, right? So you're Kevin Durant, and you see him tagging you, right? You don't block him. That's number one. You don't block him. This is a very warranted block. The amount of times that Busby has tagged Kevin Durant, If I'm Kevin Durant making all these millions and being one of the greatest all-time NBA players, this is the easiest block of all time.
You don't love the fuck me like KD do, man. KD
love the fuck me. This is the easiest block of all time. Just block him. But no, you wanna interact with him. But you don't want you're too ashamed to interact with him on the timeline. So you interact with him in the DMs to have him leave you on red. Now you look like a goofy. You look goofier than Busby does. What are you doing? What are you doing, KD?
KD got some time today.
This is worse than the hair, bro. This is worse than the hair. This is number one. Damn. This is the number one goofiest thing Kevin Durant has ever done. Number two is letting his hair get away from him the way that he has. This is the number one goofiest thing Kevin Durant has done. Get out of here.
I'm gonna come clean, bro. KD at a certain point let the hair go so long that when he, even to this day, when he does get the fresh cut, it throws me off us. Like every time I see him, like even just All-Star Weekend just passed and he had the fresh cut on the podium talking and shit. I was like, oh shit, you got a fresh. Oh, you know what I mean? Like it be throwing me off because gang. The nigga, he said it himself. He like to feel like he in the trenches. He might not shower for a day, couple
days. Yeah,
KD a different. I say this, KD a different type of dude. Like, but let me be clear. I rock with KD. Like to me, KD, as rich as he is, and as successful as life as he is absolutely one of us. You know what I mean? One of us. You know what I mean? Like I look at KD that way. He's a regular guy. Just like how we're not above building a platform or being in the comment section and telling people the FOH from time to time. He's just like that. But nevertheless, this is an issue. I'll be truthful now. If I was at Kevin Durant's level, or let's say the Rap Roundtable gets to a certain plateau, y'all will never hear from me in the comment section again. I'm not DMing a hater. I'm not talking to a hater. If you show love, I'll probably like it. I'll retweet it or whatever. But I'm not delving into negativity. But I think KD is a psychopath that's created within this era. He's like, when we talk about people who love negativity, don't worry about the praise. Man, it'd be millions of people on Twitter or bot accounts, whatever. KD the best mid-range, best 3-point. Without KD, Golden State not a dynasty. He's not looking at none of that. Let that one guy say Steph ain't need KD. Bow, here he go. He ain't see none of the love when he saw that one negative comment. If you on Twitter actively enough and you see KD in the mentions, he's always responding to negativity. I know that he enjoys it because it's his form of like trolling, if you will, and he gets to troll the troll. But it's like, why do you need burner accounts if you out here in the field for real beefing with these people? What do you need burner accounts for? You should just be front facing with all of that. That's a separate conversation. With this right here though, Busby, like Busby again, he was annoying me at certain points because I felt like sometimes it's like, all right, there's people like Sin really don't care for Drake, and I know Sin personally. I understand that. So when Sin get to talking, I don't really feel like he's performing because I know. Sometimes I was feeling like there were people who were taking advantage of fan bases during the battle and using these warring fan bases to come up. And I felt there were times, I could have been wrong, but I felt like there were times that Buzz was so pro Kendrick that it felt performative at times during the battle. And we got into it a few times because it was like there was times when we would get into our thing and we were very much a neutral party during the battle. Kendrick leaned in, but if Kendrick did something and Drake did something better, we'd say Drake did better. If Cole would have stayed and stuck around the fight and he would have performed better, we would have said Cole performed better. And he used to pick and choose certain things that we said to highlight, and then it'll have people trying to jump us on the net. So I called the nigga a grifter. And I think maybe that's what happened with KD. KD probably was like, yo, look at this guy over here. He tried to come up off the back of these Kendrick fans who really was activating for their favorite, But that don't mean you slide in a nobody's DM. And again, Busby's a big dude. So for the people who don't know the Rap Roundtable jargon, don't take this the wrong way. Busby can absolutely go to McDonald's. He could go to any McDonald's. No one knows who he is. He could go to any McDonald's. So, and for the sake of class, see, send this yo, can I chill?
That's simple.
It's levels of notoriety, y'all. It's levels.
Like, I would have understood the McDonald's line, but the way you prefaced it was like
because niggas be putting shit on people. Like they're gonna see Busby as an overweight guy and think that we're trying to be funny with the McDonald's thing, not knowing that we use McDonald's as a litmus test for fame.
Right.
There's people who can't go to McDonald's.
And could have gone to Barnes and Nobles, baby.
Right. Busby can go to McDonald's. No one's gonna know if he can get his food. He can leave. KD can't go nowhere. KD can't go to no fast food restaurant. Facts. He's gonna be seen. He got to sign autographs. What are you doing over a month and a half in this kid's DM? And it's saying stop ignoring me. Are you trying to bag Busby gang? Because that's how you talk that shit.
Jilted loving vibes.
Am I lying? When she don't respond after the third time, you in there like, yo, what's up? Like, nigga said stop ignoring me.
Yeah, that's evil work.
Kevin Durant. Like, again, you are one of us. I think KD wants to. KD really like Cole. Like the fame Cole, but we want to be as regular as possible.
Right.
But sometimes there's limits to regularity, gang. And you DMing some random guy with a platform who can go to McDonald's. He can walk around New York unnoticed. It's not the route, my nigga. Like, you are famous. Go do some famous nigga shit. Go make a movie. Shoot a commercial. Go chill at the embassy. Call some girls over. But DMing some kid who doesn't like your favorite rapper? You thinking you a fan?
Free smoke.
It's a different level of bored.
And I say that disrespectfully. You are a fan in the work. As Kevin Durant, NBA legend, you should not be this fanned out over no rapper.
Easy money.
Could you imagine if like Kobe was fanning out over Hove in like 01? You kidding me? Not even, bro. Look at the difference. And this is the one time I'm gonna defend LeBron James, and then we're gonna move on. At the shop, Drake was bowing down to the king. Did I let you down? That video will live it.
Right.
Meanwhile, Kevin Durant is fighting niggas on Twitter on Drake's behalf, and DMs getting ignored by nobodies. Crazy. What is going on? We got one more topic to get to before we get up out of here. It's been a marathon, Paul. We love y'all. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe option, hit the notification bell, like and reshare on X. Ransom, a guy. I think it's shout out KD because KD was really shining the light on the over underground when people was fronting because LeBron like the front, he been tapped in, but LeBron wasn't tapping into the Rams and the Griseldas until KD was there saying you're showing love to the guys like Ransom and 38, so on and so forth, right? So we got to give KD that love. KD, again, he's one of us. He's ahead. Ransom is outside. The two, I would say, hardest working rappers in the game right now came together for a tape. Boldy James, Ransom, pulling it up right now. You know what I mean? Salvation for the Wicked, produced by Nicholas Craven. So, in fact, the three hardest guys in the overground right now, because Craven don't stop. Get together for a tape, dropped it 2 days before Valentine's Day, so they allowed us to get the whole scary music out of our system before we got to loving on our women. You know what I mean? So consider rap snob. Salvation for the Wicked. What are your thoughts on this before we get up out of here?
Salvation for the Wicked. It's a good project. I'm not too mad at it. It's a short project, so it's not, it's not really going to hold my attention for too long, right? 21 minutes. But, Ransom, Boldy James, Nicholas Craven, if you know their brands, if you know what they deliver, they're delivering that on this project. My favorite joints, probably like the middle chunk of the project. Offerings. Well, closer towards the end. Offerings, Field of Nightmares was crazy. Leather Sandals. OT the Real. I almost called it OT Genesis. OT the Real. A very welcome feature on this project. Young Chris collection plates. We had already heard that as a single. So that was a plus. ultimately, it's a good listen. It's not, it's not knocking my socks off. I'm not gonna say like, it's like in contention for like, project of the year or anything like that. We're very early into 2026. But if you know what Ransom and Boldy James and Nicholas Craven deliver, you're not gonna be too mad. What I will say is this: probably, if I'm gonna be honest, the Nicholas Craven production, I've heard better Nicholas Craven production. I'm gonna be honest. So, I thought, production wise, it was cool, but this wasn't the best batch of beats that I've heard out of Nick Craven. So, that is what it is. But, ultimately, it was a pretty good listen.
Wow, very safe reaction from the rap snob. Interesting. Deanie the Balance, your thoughts?
I thought it was dope. Beats were minimalistic, but I think that was to bring the artistry of the lyricists out more. We started off with Sinners. I think Boldy had a good opening verse, man. But when that Ransom verse came on, man, it's a drumless beat, but when Rance came on, shit just got different. Forgiveness, really like Forgiveness. The energy picked up, good bass riff guitar, hard bars, great flow, a lot of punches. Collection Plates with Young Chris, I thought that was fire. Soulful production. You got 3 good verses, quotables, and maybe the best hook by Ransom on the whole project. Offerings, saxophone production. It almost gave me like 90s crime drama on the bass line with the way he took back with the samples, the back-to-back flow, fire. Field of Dreams with Field of Nightmares, my fault, which is a great flip on Field of Dreams. With OT the Real, I thought was fire. Shout out to OT. OT gets the last verse on a lot of songs, bro, which is a great sign because that means niggas know you close. And shout out to OT the Real again because he showed us some love. We was in his video Bloodstains with Rome Streets, which was a dope ass song if you haven't heard that.
Being outside, not wearing tight Nike.
You know how it goes, active on all ends. Leather Sandals, another joint that gave me the 80s, 90s sample vibes. Dope cruising record. Might be the record on the joint where like I might spin back the most because I feel like it's a great motion record. Everybody got music that gets them in the zone. That would be a great on your way to the vibe kind of joint. And 16 Tides is dope. I think this is a good project in terms of it's simple, it's sweet. The lyricism is prime based on it. The production does a nice job adding the background layers so these guys could do their things. I really like it, man. I really know I'm going to go back heavy with the features. The Young Chris record, Collection Plates, and Field of Nightmares to me are like really great records.
Copy. Mesito, your thoughts?
My fault, fellas. Solid project. Ransom and Boldy's an interesting combo, right? Because we've heard Ransom and Dave East, we've heard Ransom and Conway, we've heard Ransom and Rome. That's probably one of the better projects of the decade, of this half decade. So I like the dichotomy of both. You know what I mean? Ransom with the super lyricism, the sharpest flow. Boldy slightly, because Boldy's lyrical too, but his lyricism kind of hits you in a different way. Salute to Ransom. We just had a conversation about a lyricist who can't stay on topic. Ransom is the exact opposite because Ransom keeps the religious, the salvation, the theme thematically on every single verse on every single song. So I can appreciate a nonsensical barsmith, but I definitely do appreciate Ransom being able to stay on topic for the entirety of the record. Also salute to Ransom for really cracking the code for super lyricists, right? Yeah, J. Cole, we may not want to hear 24 songs from you all at once, but maybe try it like Ransom. Maybe give us 7 for 2 months, give us another 12 in 4 months, give us another 7 in a couple more months, and then at the end of the year, you've given us a 24, 25, 30 songs of heat, you know what I'm saying? But you let each song kind of live a little bit longer because Ransom is very wordy. So it's like if this were, even though it is short, time-wise and song-wise, but in this, the way, this YouTube generation, this TikTok generation, it might have been harder for me to listen to 20 straight as lyrical as Ransom is. So I got to salute him for really cracking the code. My favorite songs on here, Forgiveness and Leather Sandals. Craven is not somebody who's immediately to my taste, who I immediately think of when I think about best producers in the game. But I think he had a great showing on here. You know, the feeling of each beat is the same. You know, kind of old, kind of modern. You know what I mean? I think at one point, Ransom describes it as like the him providing a backdrop for him to spit demon shit. Like it fits the theme well, I'll say. Young Chris shines on his song. OT the Real shines on his song. And Boldy, surprisingly, doesn't get overwhelmed by the super MC that Ransom is. So I thought it was a dope project. Ransom is really an artist who you got to stay, ahead of the game with. Because if you know what I mean, you take 6 months off, it might be 3 albums of Ransom you got to listen to. You know what I'm saying? But I think it's heat. Start off the year right for Ran. Dope project. I appreciated it. I liked it.
Salute.
You on mute, y'all?
So you wanted to add something to that or no?
No. I'm good.
I thought you had it on my phone. All right. So the first thing I want to say about this project is, I think at this point individually, we know what to expect from Boldy. We know what to expect from Ransom, independently of one another. I was a little curious. Like, this is not much like Dave East and Ransom. You don't think these two belong together on wax for a full body of work? Had to say, not trepidation, but curiosity. Like, how is this going to work? And you made a good point about Craven. Craven sonically created the backdrop. To me, he was the architect of the world that allowed a Boldy and what he brings. His slightly deep voice, but like kind of a little bit slower. And then you had Rand, who's rapid fire, bars. Like, Craven, I guess familiarity with both. Who better, in fact, to produce this project, considering the bodies of work Craven has done with Ram, the bodies of work he's done with Boldy, he being Craven. That backdrop that he created for these two artists to get together allowed both parties to shine without feeling like they were fish out of water. I love offerings, love the vibe on offerings. Like, there's times where like artists, especially in this overground space, they're making very dark, muddled sounding rap songs where they're choosing these dark beats. I'm not going to use the other phrase anymore because that was disrespectful, and I don't want to. I didn't mean to be disrespectful when I said it, so I'm not going to use it anymore. But it's like, I don't like when these guys are like leaning into that. Like, your content is already dark. What you're rapping about is dark. The substance, staying on theme. It don't have to be radio friendly, but you don't have to pick these beats that just sound like gears grinding. Create some soul, some funk underneath these backdrops that talk to the listener to where you can really lock it in and lift it up. And I think that's what Craven did, because this easily could have been one of the darkest, considering the subject matter of Boldy and Ransom, this could have easily been one of the darkest sounding projects in years. And what Craven did by way of adding some soul and some, not pizzazz, but personality to it sonically, and allow these guys to shine. That's because the thing is, you can't have guys like OT the Real and Young Chris as features on a dark, muddled sounding project. They need certain backdrops to rhyme on. And I think they both shined. OT the Real closing a record with Boldy and Ransom going last. That's loud. And he did his thing. Leather Sandals, me personally, that's my favorite joint on there. Love what they did with that project. I will say this though, I think both parties have I'm gonna give them the Benny the Butcher treatment here. I think both parties have maximized this world. Like, I know they're both wild nice. I know that we know Ransom is lyrically one of the best in the world, top 3 lyrically, in my opinion. Argue with your moms. But I think we've maximized this sound now. I'm not saying move away from it, but look at what, again, Conway. Look at what Conway did. He didn't stray far away, but he blended universes together. We need some incursions, to use a Marvel terminology now. Conway is showing you that you can have these incursions and still not, quote, sell out. I don't know if I want to hear Ransom on this anymore. I think it's time for Ransom to change up sonically. He's mastered this. He's a shogun, 10th degree black belt. He's pie made. He could defend everything with his eyes closed. It's time for something else now, sonically, in my opinion. I could be wrong. So, what do you say to that before we close the pot?
I'm right there with you. I think I've heard Boldy and Nick Craven projects. I've heard Ransom and Nick Craven projects. I think separately on both ends. I think I've heard projects that are better than this. And so to have them come together all three of them together, and to hear this project, I might be with you. I'm like, maybe it's time for them to like, maybe all three of them to move on to like, or like to elevate their sound a little bit more, just a smidge. I know Boldy has had projects with Alchemist, Ransom has had a project with Rome Streets and a myriad of other producers, 38 Special, just to name one. And like, I don't know, I feel like there's more worlds to visit for all three of them, honestly. So I like the project, but like maybe there's some room for expansion.
Okay, I respect that. And that's what I think. It's time now. They've mastered it. There's more to do, and I think that the listening audience is more willing to hear from them now than they were when this takeover started many moons ago. It was a niche audience, but I think now, because lyricism is in a position now to really dominate the conversation, I think that there's room for a lot of these guys to chase it and make albums that it don't got to be commercially viable, but sonically more inviting.
Yes, sir.
Let's get to these super chats so we can get up out of here. 2.5 hour pod on a Monday, but it was a lot to cover. We covered them all. Oh, we didn't talk about Vlad. Oh shit. Man, we gotta talk about that.
That might be that's the one I feel like might be the longest joint.
We not. I
don't know.
What we gotta talk about?
Oh shit! I forgot all about that.
We can just say fuck Vlad and keep it moving.
Fuck Vlad. Yeah, that was whack, Vlad.
Do I need to read the tweet for the people or no?
I mean,
that was whack, bro.
I'm pretty sure everybody's privy to it, but like, yeah, we can read it.
Yeah, that was whack.
All right, so let me just read the tweet real quick. Yeah. Then we're gonna, get into that. I forgot about the Vlad. We've been cooking tonight, boy.
Cooking, nigga. Shout out to
DJ Vlad on Valentine's Day at 9:15 p.m. when men were supposed to be taking out their ladies. We're saying this. I have a confession.
Oh, brother.
I have a confession. Rock Nation has been paying me to support Megan. They also paid off all the jury members to convict Tory. And they bribed the judge too. Jay-Z did a verse for his grandson's new album. They paid off Megan's doctor to lie about the bullet fragments. She was never shot. The LA police are all on Jay's payroll, and it doesn't stop at LA. But you're not ready to hear that part. The Mexican guy who stabbed Tory, who do you think paid him to do that? You already know the answer to that. The top three Supreme Court judges who denied Tory's appeal all paid off by Rock Mafia. Jay also paid Trump not to pardon Tory. Even though it's a state case, Trump can only pardon federal cases. But knowing Trump likes to bend the rules, Jay wasn't taking any chances. I can't keep these lies anymore. I can't keep these lies secret anymore. If this is my last tweet, you know who silenced me. So people saw these tweets, made content on YouTube, wrote think pieces, and are running with this information that DJ Vlad tweeted out. And I want to say that this right here, this tweet was what is it called? A social, what is it called when they test people?
Social experiment.
This tweet was a social experiment on just how impressionable and stupid a lot of people are. They ran with this people. Yo, Mark Curry from Bad Boy fame making content
not the sharpest
about this tweet. This tweet was complete satire, and they ate it up.
Almost 13. It was over 13 when I last looked at it. So I don't know where it's at now. 13 million impressions.
13 million impressions, 110K likes, 23K retweets. People feasted on it. He said that Jay-Z has a verse on his grandson's album.
Paid off the president.
He paid the president, even though it's the president can only pardon federal cases.
Yeah. Like, but if you don't know shit like that, you'll get duped. You feel what I'm saying? Like a lot of niggas don't know to know.
DJ Vlad really showed. I know there's people. I understand that there are people who do want Jay-Z. to go down. They want Rock Nation to burn. I understand that. I fully understand that. But at the the first time I read this tweet, like literally the first time, I don't even think I shared this with y'all in the group chat. You know what I mean? Like I read this, this is bullshit. Like Vlad trolling. And kept it moving, thinking everybody else would get it.
Hey.
Bro, we are in the minority of people who got it. Are we not concerned about the future?
That was some scary shit, man.
Media literacy is in the toilet for sure. You know,
for sure, 100%.
Yeah.
Literacy all across the board is in the absolute gutter.
And you go with seeing the innocent man in jail, Vlad. You took 50 racks, nigga. Yo, it's some crazy shit, bro.
The satire of it all is 90% of what he put up there. I've actually seen people type.
That was the point.
You know what I'm saying? I've seen people say every single thing that Vlad tweeted.
That's
the fact that he
niggas in.
threw them all together is interesting, but yeah, I seen people actually believe all of this shit.
Nah, for real.
And he didn't even delete it.
Crazy.
Like this mess has been made, and he won't even delete the tweet. Like it's just there now. His platform has people who kill Hove. Like y'all.
And it's just it's media literacy is literacy in general. It's critical thinking. It's okay, I just read this. Let me go ahead and verify it or vet it somehow. Let me go cross-check it against a verified source. Like none of that shit happens. None of it. People look towards a blue check. People look towards a name that they recognize, and they just read and consume and regurgitate. That's all they do. That's all people do. That's the internet era. That's the era. And look, shit. And God help us in the AI era. We are so we are so in the early infancies of the AI era. Like you think that Will Smith video of him eating spaghetti versus what it was 2-3 years ago, you think that shit is scary? Bro, wait till 3 years from now. You will not be able to tell the difference online between what's reality and what's fabricated.
It's scary.
You motherfuckers need to do the goddamn knowledge, learn to read a goddamn book off of a shelf that's not on the internet, and just just challenge yourself to be smarter people and more well-informed people and think critically. But you motherfuckers are too lazy out there to do any of that shit. So y'all gonna wind up where y'all gonna wind up.
Whole paying all podcasters. I'm like, we ain't getting checked.
And that's the thing. We've talked about it for years. Nuance. People don't understand nuance. They don't understand satire. They don't understand how to disassociate and separate one point from the other. Everything is just one clump of thought, and you can't deduce and separate anymore. And quite frankly, to all of you who ate this up and made content, wrote think pieces, felt validated, so on and so forth. I'm stealing this from Sincere. You can get the fuck off our lawn. You are the problem here. You are the problem. I am in fear of what the next 25 years looks like. I'm not gonna lie to you.
25
you know what I mean?
years. Months,
this
nigga.
tweet was, and it's like I read it and I knew right away, and I'm thinking, I bet. To see so many people
crash out.
Oh man, Mark Curry got a Twitter video, not to a YouTube video, saying, "Did Jay-Z block?" Whoa! What about Vlad? What about Jay-Z? Which he's gonna work with Vlad? Of all the niggas,
how did we get here, bro?
Come on, man.
Make it make
and
sense.
You know what, too? And granted, we know that the thing with Megan Thee Stallion and Tory, that's blurry, and we've talked about it a lot on this podcast. There's a lot of unanswered questions and a lot of stories changing and things of that nature. The timeline is off. We know all of that. And that was a genius thing he did by putting the Megan shit at the top. The most divisive issue,
right?
Outside of the Nicki thing, the most divisive issue amongst Rock Nation is how Meg got handled within that Tory thing. And that was genius. He's a fucking genius. We got to move on. Now we can get to the super chats and get up out of here. Jermaine L. Johnson says, "Is Cole album better than the Conway album?" For me, no.
Not to me.
Nope.
Conway album,
absolutely
fire.
not. No, I feel like JLJ was trolling with that one.
We gotta. Jermaine L. Johnson says, "Are there any culturally trending songs from the Cole album? Were there any records played during All-Star Weekend?" No and no. Are there any? He might not, this album might not be for singles or none of that though. I'll say that. Like this might just be like a body of work that's meant to be listened in whole.
I can't think of the hot. Nah, I didn't know JLJ. I don't think so right now.
Slow motion.
Andre Miller says, "Rap is street color. That street culture. That's the core." Yeah,
it's true indeed.
Yep.
Jeremy Cole, the homie, the real J. Cole says, "Keem Docs left me feeling more than 4 hours of Iceman streams and 100 minutes of Cole bars. It is what it is." Wow.
J. Cole never changed, bro.
Fair play. So, but Keem doing the things that we was talking about for the fall of as far as world building, not just Cole is a megastar, but Keem, the little nuggets of music he's giving you with Boo Man and everything, you kind of get a sense of what this album is going to be about, and that's what we're talking about as far as like really taking chances with sounds to help tell your story. I think that's going to be a big thing with this album coming up. The Company Man, we read this earlier. This is a great discussion. My only issue is people faking who their reality, projecting a life they're not living. Fair play. Still think even if you know Cyhi and you talked to them in the past, I got a slap box. That's how I'm taking it. Shetty Wop, $10 holler says, "I'm questioning y'all's taste by enjoying the Future feature from the Cole album. It's just terrible. Y'all got to be the few who like it. LOL. Wow. What's the requirement for liking it? Have sipped lean before? LOL. That's what I mean. Like, why do we have to be in a hive mind about music?
Shit.
This is what I be talking about with the Cole fans. Thank you for the super chat. Like we have to. So basically, that's how I know niggas.
This is why I'm convinced that like this is for the generation that's like super just straight edge. Don't go to clubs. Don't go to parties. Don't drink. Don't smoke. Don't do nothing. They just want to sit at home and listen to J. Cole for 2 hours. That's a good Friday night for them.
Hour and 41 minutes script.
But that's the thing. That's another thing I'll take further. She said, or he said, I don't know if it's a he or a she. Y'all got to be the few who like it. That just shows me that a lot of people in these fan bases and these fan groups, stan cultures, whatever, a lot of their opinions are performative. They just want to be part of the they want to be in line with what the talking point is for the conversation, as opposed to having their own opinions. They might not even like the album, but they're not gonna get on the internet and say that they don't like it because they don't want to be out of that social hub. Right. And this comment speaks to that. Have your own fucking opinions. Donnie Forget About It says, so the $1 million question is, are we supposed to only listen to rappers who lived what they rap? Shit sounds crazy. I don't think any one of us said that at any point or suggested that.
Nah, bro.
FBA King says Cole ruined his legacy, bro. Don't agree with that either.
Nah, I don't either.
The homie Mike Gage, home team, what up, boy? Says $5 holla. We've all seen the playlist online. With Nas, the autobiography have been the best hip hop double album of all time. Can't
I'm one of a few people that like that album a lot. So
he's saying the album that would have been the double album.
I ain't giving him that. It ain't happening.
Nas the autobiography. So. I was thinking.
I'm thinking Street's Disciple in my head because the autobiography of
we both see the track list online. I get it. It's
I don't
hard
have
to
it over All Lies or Life After Death.
It's hard to say without listening to it all the way through. I think it could have been in the conversation, but we can't judge it off of just reading it on paper.
Yeah.
KPS 91 says, Trouble from the Drought is over par far as my favorite Wayne Substance track. But yeah, Wayne is a party rapper overall. Real quick, we did a poll. Does Wayne lack substance was the question. Over 351 votes total. 80% said yes, he lacks substance. So a sample size, 351 votes, 80% said he lacks substance. So Mace, you got to fight with them. It ain't just sin.
I'm ready. Go.
The check-in report, $5 holla says, substance is subjective because what you receive from a song or album may have an entirely different meaning and power to another listener. Yeah, but there's certain there's certain connective threads that's universal. Yeah, I'm sorry. KPS 91 back again says old head told me Wayne ain't have such as recommended DOS effects.
See, all right, and let me just jump in here. This
they had a flavor to them.
This is where my generation and my ilk do not do themselves any favors whatsoever. Right. It's with comments like that. Because I can enjoy DOS effects in 2026 as a nostalgic moment in time. They had their own style, song was a hit. It was a moment in time. It puts me in a place. But we're not gonna put DOS effects and that song up against.
That's wild, bro.
We're not
the GOATs, bro. Like we're not putting that up against the GOATs.
That's a fact.
Not the GOAT songs, not the GOAT artists, not the GOAT albums.
Now, Sin, you saying too much. In real time, niggas wasn't even putting DOS effects up there. Like they was never part of no conversation. Stop.
What you know about this youngin'?
That person hated you. That's why they did that. The homie Baylor, the G is sounding like lasagna. Shout out Baylor.
Wow. Baylor, that was a bar, nigga. I don't care.
Jermaine L. Johnson back again says, not about substance. You can rap about sex, violence, but for God's sake, stay on topic. Far too often, Wayne bars are just a bunch of random words that rhyme. Sentence one has nothing to do with sentence two, and that's there you go.
It's true.
He wasn't rhyming about shit half the time. I'm sorry, Mace. He wasn't. Notice that you went from Wayne to Tupac because you needed some kind of balance in your life. It wasn't enough. APS back again says
to enemies and Hennessy.
Come on, gang. Come on, man. Like, wait. It's like, you know what? I need something more. This is not it. Like, he ain't even saying nothing. Let me get to Tupac. Comment questions Jay-Z substance on Nag Champa. Cool. Comment ain't want that Jay-Z smoke.
Did he?
Jermaine
I'm gonna have to go. I've listened to that song 1,000 times. I've never heard nothing that sounded like Jay-Z smoke.
You better than me. I already said he couldn't even beat Drake. You better leave Jay-Z alone. Jermaine L. Johnson with a super chat says Ghostface catalog is the perfect balance. He has nutmeg type records. He's also one of the greatest storyteller MCs of all time. Fair play.
Facts.
Sure.
Dre Riles, I guess is his name. We had Jordan, but still love Kobe for the saying.
What was that?
What this is in reference to.
Sure.
LTC Low $10 holler says Wayne was 50 on steroids with the mixtapes a few years later. Both weren't the nicest, but boy, they worked the hardest. We respected it, but years later, they stayed the same. Both made their mark and cemented it. Yeah. There were moments in time. I can respect that.
Low.
Dre Riles back again saying, so y'all basically saying Wayne lyrically isn't what they make it out to be, but as far as an artist, he's among the greats. As a Wayne fanboy, I can agree. Yeah, that's a fair middle ground. I can live with that. TB, $50 holler. We love you, TB.
Hey, girl.
Ain't my phase. Wayne rap definitely lacks substance. Eminem raps has substance as a wordplay rapper. That's what separates Wayne from Eminem as a great. I expect Wayne's music to give me I need a hot girl vibes and lollipop vibes. Ouch. Oof.
I'm beating up on Wayne, man.
Hey, man, it's your fault. Yeah, you see, you made Sin turn glowing red. I'm
red,
disappointed that I've never been able to do that. I've tried for years. It was kill Sin tonight. KPS 91 says, respect to Wayne for sobering up on his Nas features. His work ethic is a gift and a curse. Saluting KD is wild.
Listen, man.
Fight the good fight, KD.
Solid show. Keep cooking as usual. Tried to run the Cole album back. To quote Deanie, it's cool. You know what I mean?
Big K, bro. It's a K, not a C.
Yes. It's cool. TB back again. A Millie 6'7". Wayne's biggest, most popular rap songs had no substance. Just great wordplay. So I agree with LaRussell's take. Fair play. It's all fair here at the Rap Roundtable. KPS has Ransom and Just Blaze 5-song EP is needed. Agreed. I like that. That's a good way to get Just out of retirement. Andre Miller says the same low IQ world is fearless about AI. Scary. Woof.
Word, bro.
JD Double says, shout out Crit. Cataly Byritz. Can't pronounce that. Shout out to everybody who pulled up, though. Not damn near 3-hour pod, but great pod. Lot to talk about. Shout out to everybody who pulled in, you know. Again, we still need some moderators in the chat. LP, I'm gonna blow it up now. LP was afraid. I talked to LP on Instagram. LP was like, "Nah, I just want to be a viewer. I don't want to be a moderator." You know what I mean?
Nigga.
I think it's gonna end up being TB, Jeremy Cole, and Jermaine L. Johnson as our mod. Since LP don't want to do it, LP probably still working for Tight Nike Tech, so you know what I mean. But this was a great pod. Episode 143 is coming up this Wednesday. That was also a great pod. We covered a lot of things, great conversations that were had on that episode. Make sure y'all pull up for that. You know what I mean? I'm gonna drop a reminder because I feel like y'all used to the Monday energy, but half of y'all don't even be knowing that the in studio drops on Wednesday, and YouTube, we can't trust them to remind y'all either. So I'm gonna drop a little reminder post tomorrow to let y'all know, tomorrow and Wednesday, quite frankly, to let y'all know that the in studio 143 is dropping this Wednesday. Great convo. Pull up. Deanie the Balance, take us home.
You already know the vibes. To each and every one of you watching, whether live or on the spin back, hit that like button. Tell a friend to tell a friend. We have great hip-hop discussions here, as you know, because that's why you are here. Shout out to you. Shout out to Jarvie. Shout out to Sincere. Shout out to Macito. I'm Dean the Balance of the Force. And with our powers combined, you know what the fuck it is, man. It's the Rap Roundtable. You heard Monday Night Raw, episode 143.